Perhaps we need some outside universal threat to make us recognize this common bound. I occasionally think how quickly our differences worldwide would vanish if we were facing an alien threat from outside this world.
Off a brand new week here on Spaced Out Radio. Stay strong, my fellow Canadians. Stay strong. I'll tell you, it's an emotional day up here in Canada right now, and if you haven't been following the politics that have been going on, it is truly scary up here with the truckers' convoy and literally our prime minister deciding to wage war against us. That's pretty much it. And the War Measures Act, called the Emergency Act now, has been invoked, and we don't know what's going to happen here up in Canada. But stay strong, my fellow Canadians. We got this. We've never lost, ever. Losing is not in our blood, and we'll see where it goes. I'm not going to get too political tonight. Otherwise, this whole show will be dedicated to that. Amber's Paraworld is our guest. We're going to get, she's got nice hair, people. Not going to lie. Fantastic teeth as well. Definitely a 2-time-a-day brusher and flosser. We're going to get to roll call right now. Race fan in the gold medal position. We got Acreong in silver. Grand Paul Holland taking home the bronze. Logan L., Jeffrey DeRue, and Jurassic Joey. How are you guys? Peggy Mowry, welcome to Spaced Out Radio's chat for the first time. How are you? Don't forget to hit that subscribe button. Wes H., Stunning Steph Dickey, good to see you both. Dirty Filth is here. Dirty Filth will be signing autographs after the show. Line up to the left of the studio, if you don't mind. To the left of the studio. There's Mennonite Abe, Nightmare, Gorgeous Kathy Evans, the Stunning Cosmic Fleur. Yes, they're all here tonight. Kevin, how you doing, man? Good to have you here. Luscious Jules, nice to see you. And where are we? Mr. Lurks a lot. Mark Longoria, it's been a while. Good to have you back. And where are we here? My man Andrew, trucking across the United States. Stunning Samantha Hazelwood Gray is here. Good to have you both here. Majdi is here. Majdi will be signing autographs after the show as well. Line up to the right of the studio. To the right of the studio. Roy Boy, Fidgety Aura, how are you? Good to see you. Looking gorgeous, by the way, Fidgety Aura. Thank you for coming on in. Stephen Edmond, nice to have you here. Mike Roberts, the Mike Roberts is here. All right, Double Tim. Doug Shelby is here, everyone. The Doug Shelby. Yeah, he doesn't like it, but we're going to give it to him. Dog Next Door, how you doing? Thanks for coming on in. Fapster, my man. Sir Whiskers, good to have you both here. And so we continue on with roll call. And there's Paradox Fossils. Nicola, how you doing? Thank you for joining us. And who else do we have rolling on in here? Enzo, Richard Elmore. And let's see here. The Doug Shelby again. Boom. Gorgeous Carla, how are you? Thank you for joining us. Smithy, thank you for kicking off the super chat tonight. Really appreciate it. Big J, nice to see you. Downshift. Michael Leger is here, everyone. The Michael Leger and the Matthew Kennedy. Yeah, I'm just on a roll here tonight. Hold on. Forgot to do something. All right. Let's start the radio side of things. And who else do we have here? Scrolling on down. Well, there's TMI, nice to see you. Bob Birkins, good to have you here. My man Millennium, the gorgeous Candy Romero, the stunning Jenny White Bear. We love her. The beautiful Wagon's Breath, November 3rd. There she is. Give us a wave if you don't mind. Swan Man, Christy Beaver, how are you? welcome the gorgeous Manitoba Becky. They call her the Wheat Queen. And JR, good to have you back, buddy. How are you? And who else is here? $5,900. And let's see. Gong Show. Nice to have you back. The gorgeous and talented Kira. Way to go. Thank you for joining us. Vanner Smith, nice to see you. And Lars Janssen, welcome to the show. We got 29 seconds. Can we get it all in? Flash forward. The gorgeous Jeanette Sanchez. Boz Monster, how are you guys? Michael Fontaine, nice to see you. And B. And yeah, I think we're done. There's Phil Minervino. And I'm watching the clock here. I'm doing two things at once. We're running out of time. We're going to get going here. DD74, Doris, Ray, how are you? And Carfanibre, you're the last one. Horns up. Let's rock. From the mountains of central British Columbia to you listening around the world, this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. I am your host, Dave Scott. Sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters, we welcome you to tonight's show on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, at KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do us the favor. Hit that subscribe button. You can follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. Our website, spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot. Read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Tonight's show is brought to you by Chive Charities. Help make the world 10% happier by visiting Chive Charities today. You can find them on our website. We got a great show for you tonight. Amber from Amber's Paraworld. She's going to bring the woo tonight. She promised, and we're going to make sure that she delivers. Then in hour number 3, we got the Swamp Dweller, bringing in another spooky story from the swamp. Fedora John has a UFO report. Shirky Poo's got the news, and it's the thought of the day as well. Amber from Amber's Paraworld is a physical medium and paranormal research investigator. She has had the ability to see, hear, and feel spirits. She also has the ability to channel spirits, everything from being at a restaurant and see a dead person who insists that she gives a message to his loved one on a few tables over, to seeing random dead people out in public settings, and to channeling for grieving souls. She also investigates everything from UFOs, the fairy realm, ancient entities, Bigfoot, hellhounds, shadow people, and even an old hag, a.k.a. she has met my former mother-in-law. Maybe not. I do not know. Let's hope not, because that is scary. Amber from Amber's Paraworld. I'm going to get you to unmute yourself, and thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. How are you?
I'm doing great. Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for having me on here.
Now, just for clarification, have you had a run-in with my former mother-in-law?
Possibly.
Ooh. I don't wish that on anybody. I really don't. But thank you so much for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight. And I just want to quickly mention, we broadcast to a number of Canadian people who are going through a very tough time now with what's happening politically north of the 49th parallel. Canada, we are thinking of you. I love you, and stay strong. That is all I'm going to say on the entire situation. Stay strong. We got this. We have never lost, nor will we lose this one. Everything will be just fine. Let's rock it, Canada. Let us rock it. All right, Amber, let's get to it. You're somebody who has had these experiences your entire life. You run around chasing around ghosts, UFOs, fairies. I mean, did you ever think your life was going to take this turn?
Yeah, I guess. The UFOs or the aliens, I really don't want to pursue that. I've had some experiences with them. And for me, I'd kind of rather they stay away from me personally, but I don't know if that's going to happen or not. That's kind of the one thing I don't really.
Why don't you like the aliens? The
encounter that I had recently, it really scared me. Not a lot scares me anymore, but this encounter did scare me. The heart racing, trying to ask them to leave. And it really scared me. I don't like being scared, like to where I feel like I'm out of control of what's happening. So,
see, that's what drives me nuts about the whole alien thing is how out of control that you feel without going into your situation. If it frightened you that much, there's a reason why the extraterrestrial side really seems to scare people. And that's exactly what you are stating right now regarding the entire process of being out of control. I mean, you're somebody who lives in a world where you need to have control in order to protect yourself. Yet it's completely different with extraterrestrials. How is it different?
Well, for one, it was just like an experience that I'd never had before. And this just happened like maybe a month ago, probably not even that long ago. But it was like I had this stare off with one for like 15 minutes. I did record some of it, but it just they had bad intentions. They wouldn't speak back to me. I kept asking them to leave and they would not leave. And I say there were two of them. There was one and then another one showed up. It just like I had that dreadful feeling, just a bad negative feeling from it. I don't think they meant well. They weren't coming over to have a glass of sweet tea with me. I don't know what their intentions were. They have not came back since, but I'm trying my best to, protect the house and myself and my family, so that we don't have any negative experiences from them.
But don't you find that the entire phenomena is connected? And with you being highly intuitive, a channeler, basically a beacon, like a Kmart blue light special for the paranormal, don't you feel that no matter what you put out there, that you're not going to have a choice?
Yes, I feel like that a lot. Sometimes it doesn't matter how many times I tell them, like with spirits, stay here, don't follow me. They're going to do what they want to do, no matter what I do to protect myself. I do have boundaries set up in the house. They do get in sometimes. I don't like them to be in my bedroom, so that's kind of like off limits. So yeah, they do. They're like toddlers. Some listen, some don't. They're just going to kind of do what they want. But having some control is very important. Setting boundaries is important.
Oh, wonderful. Wonderful. So when did you find out, or when did you figure out on your own that you had the ability to communicate with spirits?
It's kind of always been there. I had my first paranormal experience when I was 5 and I saw a UFO in the sky. So kind of from that point on, things started happening. And it's just kind of always been there. I did try to kind of ignore it throughout my teens and early 20s. I was kind of put in a position where I had no choice but to reach out to somebody to learn how to handle this because, even though I was going places and communicating with them, and this was before YouTube, before, like back when I just had a digital recorder, before all the fancy stuff, I was having some bad experiences with them following me home and kind of scaring me, just kind of using my energy and not in a good way, I guess.
Has this been since childhood?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Okay, so the fact that you have seen ghosts and dealt with this situation since childhood, a lot of people will not understand that. A lot of people will not be able to comprehend having abilities from such a young age. How did you control it? Did you talk to anybody about it regarding, what you were seeing?
Well, so that'll bring me kind of like my mom and some of my aunts have abilities as well. They're all a little different, but they are very intuitive as well. So I've always had like that kind of connection with them. And we could talk about it. But I was probably 30 before I actually reached out to someone because of some experiences I was having. I had all these spirits in the house and they were following me. They wanted my attention. They wanted my help. And I didn't know how at the time to help them or to control them coming in and just protect myself, my energy. So Do you want to hear the story of what made me?
Yeah, bring it on out. Let's hear
Okay.
it. Remember,
So,
I told the audience you were bringing the woo tonight. So you
okay.
got to bring
So, for a couple years before this happened, I would hear this man walk down the hallway, and the hallway goes straight to my bedroom door. And I would just hear the footsteps and stuff. And I would hear him going up and down the steps. We have creaky wooden steps. So I would hear him going up and down the steps. And I kind of had this bad feeling from him. Like I was scared of him. So I just would kind of like roll over and just ignore him. This went on for a long time, like probably years. And then at the same time, this lady, which I think was the old hag, she would come in as soon as I would lay down, like I would not even fall asleep. And she would start screaming in my ear, and she would scream, Amber, Amber. And it would make my ear ring. Like it would hurt so bad. And I just couldn't get him to stop. So it was her and this man. They weren't working together, but they were both in there. So some time goes by and I have my daughter. So I was 30, she was a newborn, and this was still happening. So she was in my bed. Her dad was out of town for a wedding out of state, and we're there by ourselves. And I hear this man walk up to my door, and then I hear this lady screaming in my ear, and I'm trying to tell him to leave. I'm scared. I'm, alone. And about that time, I'm telling him to leave, and I'm terrified. He walks over to the bed and grabs my ankles and jerked me out of bed. So that's when, like, I slept in the living room that night with the lights on, grabbed her, went in the living room. But that's when I was like, I can't live like this. I have to reach out. And I got a hold of like a shaman and some other people that deal with spirits. And I really talked to people and reached out because like I was that was the breaking point for me. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. So I either have to learn how to deal with it, or I'm just going to be tormented forever. So even though that experience was terrible, I'm really thankful that experience happened to me, because I learned so much from it. And that's what I tell people, like when I do readings, even though you go through bad things in life, we learn from everything. And it's so true. It may take us a while to figure out that lesson or what we learned from it, but we always learn from everything we go through, even the bad experiences.
I think so too. I mean, I haven't figured out what the bad experiences are all about yet. And trust me, I've had a couple of bad ones, but it is one of those titles that just kind of goes along with it. You have to, it really is like the facts of life. Remember, you take the good, you take the bad, you take both, then you have the facts of life. I hate to say that, but it is like that when it comes to the paranormal. So for you, are spirit always around you? Can you control them and tell them when to come around, when not to come around, when not to bug you? Like if you're on a, out having some meditation time, or if you're out on a date, or if you're out, just in the shower, can you tell them, hey, private area, private zone, you don't come on in here? Does that work?
Sometimes. I have two that live with me that I allow to stay there all the time. One of them is somebody that I brought home from the beach last year from vacation. So he lives there, and a woman named Heidi lives with me. And then I allow like my dad and my aunt to come in the house. Sometimes the other ones do get in, and it just depends. I've seen a lady running through the hallway just screaming, and kind of, she almost looked like that woman from the It movie where she's like screaming and just acting crazy. I've had some just kind of pass through, walking around. I saw a guy in the house 2 weeks ago. I saw him a couple of times, and he had jeans and a white t-shirt just walking through the kitchen out the back door. He did that several times. I don't know what he wanted. I haven't sat down and like when I talk to them, I will cross them over if they need help, but I like to sit down and talk to them and let them tell their story. So that takes a lot of energy and time. And usually I'm really busy. So trying to find that time to really sit down and do this. Sometimes it takes 30 minutes. Sometimes it could take me an hour and a half to talk them into leaving. So that's kind of. I gotta
ask you, the guy in the white shirt and the blue jeans, what was his name?
He didn't tell me. I couldn't see his face. It was blurry. Sometimes I see blurry faces. He just kind of passed through. He didn't stop and say, hey, nothing. He just walked through. He walked down the hallway. He's just kind of hanging out. I don't know what he wants.
I have a white t-shirt, blue jeans guy in my backyard.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, his name is Rick.
Oh, wow. This guy was thin. He looked thin to me. And he may have been bald, but like I said, his face was kind of blurry, so I didn't really see it.
Yeah, no, my guy's not bald. He has feathered 70s hair.
Oh, that's awesome.
and just a fantastic mustache.
Well, then he fits right in with you, doesn't he? You got the awesome beard.
Well, he doesn't come in my house. He doesn't come in my house. He made that promise. He likes the yard. I leave actually wood for him to work on in my carport because he likes working with wood.
Oh, that's so sweet.
Yeah. So every now and again, I've only seen him twice. The first time was the day we moved in, and the second time was like 6 weeks later. And it was quite surreal because I've never ever like seen a body manifest and disappear right in front of me. And it was like 20 feet away. And I did what any man would do. I screamed like a banshee. And then I yelled at him and I told him, don't startle me like that, you know. But apparently I wasn't supposed to see him. It was against the rules. I didn't know what that meant.
Did he ever tell you?
No.
That makes me curious.
Well, you're more than welcome. You're more than welcome to try and pick him up if you want. I mean, you're the intuitive. I'm just the guy. I'm just the guy behind a microphone.
You should ask him though one night.
No, I don't bug him. He keeps bears out of my yard. He keeps mountain lions out of my yard. That's part of the deal.
Okay, that's awesome. I've made deals with ones too. So.
I did get a little upset with him this year. I did, because the first time in like almost 6 years, over 6 years, my garbage can got knocked over by a bear, and I was picking up the garbage, and I'm like, Rick, what the hell, man? I thought we had a deal here. You know, I said, why am I picking up the garbage? He's like, dude, I didn't even know that the bear came in. Right? So we had this little discussion, right? But that's okay. That's okay. More about you here. As we learn, you, Amber, from Amber's Paraworld, you have a very, very popular TikTok channel that seems to have taken off. Now, a lot of people on TikTok or whatever, I mean, you know, it's much like YouTube. You know, certain channels just seem to hit. Yours is one of them. You know, what has been your success on TikTok?
I mean, for me, I do usually when I post videos is actual clips from what I put together for my YouTube channel. So, you know, I'm taking like real investigations or real things that happen and posting them. And then I also do some live streams on there as well.
Are you live streaming right now?
Yes.
How many people you got watching? We'll say hello to Ella.
Right now there's only 16.
Well, hello, 16 people on Amber's Paraworld. How are you?
But I have 1.3 thousand likes on it already. So there's been 7 people through.
Nice. Yeah, I'm going to shamelessly plug our Spaced Out Radio TikTok. If they could all go over there and subscribe, I would appreciate that. You know, how do you like TikTok?
I like it. I have Instagram. I don't do Instagram much. I've maybe posted 3 things in the last couple months. I don't do Facebook a lot. I try to stay away from like drama-free zone, you know. But I like TikTok and YouTube. And Twitter. I do share a lot of stuff on Twitter.
Yeah, see, I am still trying to get used to the whole TikTok thing. Now, for me, sitting around and just watching TikTok, I can totally do it. But actually creating or much like Instagram. I've never really figured out the whole rush with Instagram, mainly because I probably hate taking pictures of myself. But for you, it's been a very successful way for you to get your message out about what you do, paranormally speaking. What has been the reaction from your audience members who have taken off on that part and really trusted what you're doing?
Pretty much all the people that follow me on TikTok are great. They watch my stuff and they leave positive comments. I do get some people that will kind of like troll my post and leave a lot of negativity. I usually just kind of ignore those. Sometimes I'll call them out on it. It just depends on what kind of mood they catch me in.
What's been your biggest TikTok video so far?
That was the one where I was filming out in my goat stalls. I was mucking the nastiness up, and I had my phone recording, but it was a good ways away from me, and you can hear a lady named Bernice. Now she's buried at a cemetery about 7 miles from the house. She comes to my house sometimes, and then I'll tell her to go back, and she just kind of comes and visits. She likes hanging out with the goats. That one's at about 1.7 million views right now.
Holy cow. And is she on tape? Like, can you hear her?
Yes.
No way.
And I mean, there's no spirit box or anything. And then there's another one, like kind of like a second part of that video where you hear this little boy. I did cross him over, but he hung around for a while. But he was on there, and he says, like, "Ma, are you thirsty?" He's talking in it. But I had a lot of positive comments on there, but then there was a lot of people that are like, "That's just her throwing her voice." I have a vocal cord injury. There is no way I'm going to yell that far away. My voice gets really high pitched. I can't do it. There's no chance.
What do you say about the critics out there who aren't there in the situation, but their immediate reaction to everything you do, fake, you're throwing your voice.
Yeah.
You've got wires set up. This isn't happening. How do you deal with the critics?
For me, I mean, I don't feel like it's my job to ever convince anyone that a ghost exists or that Sasquatches exist or that mermaids are real. It's not my job to convince them. I know what I know through experience. And I think that's true with pretty much anybody in the paranormal or cryptid field. We have our experiences, and that's how we learn things and we know things. They can take it for what it is. If they don't like it, that's fine. But when they comment on my stuff, I stay on their algorithm. So, it's kind of defeating the whole purpose of them not liking it. But yeah, I get a lot of comments, pertaining to religion, saying that, I'm doing the devil's work, stuff like that. Me and God are good. We're good. And I don't know, people like to criticize what they don't understand. If I could help somebody understand something, even if a critic or somebody who is skeptic wants to have a conversation with me, I would gladly do that. But I don't like when they just come at me with accusations or, like cussing me out for something that has nothing to do with them. That's not cool. But, I'm definitely open to hearing everybody's, side of what they feel, their thoughts.
Well, we've got about 40 seconds left here, Amber, before we got to go to break. I mean, you have to find that backbone. You have to be able to strengthen yourself. I know I get attacked pretty often, and it's one of those things you just have to go through when you put yourself in the public spectacle. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to expect it. It's going to happen, but just keep being real, keep being, who you are, and the ones that love you are going to love you. And,
isn't that true? Isn't that true?
No.
When we come back from the break here with Amber from Amber's Paraworld, and you can find her on TikTok and YouTube, we're going to get into some of her really cool stories. She's got some woo, this lady. She got the woo. And you know what? Dave needs some woo tonight. I need a full-on woo injection that our good friend Amber from Amber's Paraworld is going to give us. when we get back on Spaced Out Radio. And we're clear. That was a fun first half hour.
Yes, it went by pretty quick.
I'm trolling your chat room, too. I can multitask.
One of my moderators are in there, so she'll keep all the trolls out of there.
I think I'm the last word. Hope you're enjoying the show. I am the last word.
Got some of my fam in the chat. Hey, Melissa.
Let's see. Green Meadows Alpaca Ranch. Love ya, Amber. Look at this. Right there, just boom. Love ya, Amber. Green Meadows, welcome to our channel. Hope you hit subscribe. We'd appreciate it. Is Dave being a troll? Yes. Yes, Dave is. Mr. Tiny Corn Dog on Twitch, welcome to the channel. And Mark Longoria gives you a love you, Amber shout out. And who else do we have here? Candy's like, yes, we want woo. We need the woo. At National Memorial, you're strong, Amber. Yeah, you're getting lots of love in here tonight.
I have some amazing people in my life that I've met through social media.
Well, you're quite frequent in our chat room.
Yeah.
So, thank you, Green Meadows. We appreciate that. Apollo 11, how are you? Hobbs, Wagon Bread, November 3rd, how are you? Let's see here. Candy, do you see any ghosts around, Dave? The odd time. Oh, Bomber, today is a free day. You go off, girl. You go off. I've been going off all day. Today's a free day. Remember, no talking politics on in our chat room unless it's about our illustrious Prime Minister in Canada, who is an absolute weasel, crook, should be arrested. But that's just me. Slackmate, how are you? Welcome to our chat room. Ted Forquerian, how are you, bud? Amber, she got some ghosts. She got ghosts. Thank you, Bomber. Thank you. I'm going to support that message right there as my feelings as well. And yeah, there we go. Now I feel good. I needed that. God, that felt good. That felt good. Yeah. Hey, the gorgeous thin Lizzie Borden. How are you? Where's the bearded wonder? For those of you who don't know or, excuse me, or do not follow politics, Canadian Prime Minister Justin Trudeau today enacted the Emergency Act, which is the equivalent of the World War I War Measures Act against our people, against all Canadians. And it gives him the fundamental power, even in a minority government, to do whatever he wants without consequence. And the sad part about it is you have to understand the Canadian electoral system on how it works, but not our opposition party, but the second party in opposition actually supported the motion of this kind of communistic fraudulent activity. So most Canadians right now, we're all on edge right now, and we could use some love, support, prayers, and Canada never loses. That's all I'm going to say. We never lose. That's all I'm going to say.
I'm going to scratch my nose.
Mm-hmm. All right, we got 30 seconds. Thank you to Carlito and Smithy with the super chats. The super chats are a great way to support what we do on Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis. On Saturday, February 26th, Lynn Wallington is going to be hosting her Women in Ufology panel right here on our channel. Make sure you check it on out. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And Lynn and I will be speaking March 25th through 27th in San Francisco at UFO Con. Here we go. Second half hour of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with Amber from Amber's Paraworld. We're getting deep into the paranormal tonight, as Amber is a lifelong experiencer of everything from ghosts to Sasquatch to the fairy realm and every UFO in between. Amber, welcome back.
Hello.
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 All right. I want to get into it with you. What is your most memorable story that has happened to you? What's your most memorable experience?
I don't know. I mean, there's a lot of them. So there's just so many. It depends on what you want to hear about.
Well, let's start with ghosts.
Okay. Well, I did tell the one earlier, that was kind of traumatizing a little, but let's see. This is kind of a good story. This isn't going to be a scary one, but last year we went on vacation, and as soon as I walked out onto the sand, I heard this man say, "Hey, I'm Paul," and he wears nothing but swim trunks, red swim trunks. He's in very good shape. Nice hair, brown hair. I mean, he passed away, I think, in the early 50s, but he's the one I brought home with me. He had passed away from been out on a boat, and his boat overturned. He was fishing. I don't know if he did it all the time or he was just kind of out fishing for the day, but he's really cool. When I got home, my mom had told me the next day, because she didn't go with us, but she said, "I had this dream last night, and I could see this man on the beach, and he didn't turn around, but she saw his back and his shorts. And he said, 'Hey, tell her I don't want to cross over. I want to stay here.'" So I was like, okay, that's all you have to say to convince me he can stay. He used to have my keys and do some stuff like move things around. He's quiet now. We had to talk about it. So he kind of keeps to himself now. He doesn't do that. But they do warn me if him and Heidi as well, they warn me if something negative tries to come in. So they're kind of like my guards at the house.
Why would you invite ghosts to live with you? That just kind of trips me out.
Because I can't say no. No. He really was a good one. He was a good one. I offered to cross him over. I didn't take anything with me to the beach, like dowsing rods or anything like that. We flew, of course. I could just see me getting like patted down because I have big copper dowsing rods on me. So I was like, "You just come home with me and I'll cross you over there." But I let him stay. He's really sweet. But either one of them, like Heidi, I'm so attached to her as well. I love her so much. But she knows that, like, if she ever wanted to cross over, that I'll help her. I don't think she would actually need help. She could go if she wanted. But I just have a soft spot for him. Like now when we go places, if we're going to a haunted place, sometimes my mom goes with me and she'll be like, "I don't care if this is like, they say they're a little kid and they need your help. You're not bringing anything back to your house. Like, don't take anything home." She tries to look out for me. So So I've been not doing that, but they follow me anyways. There's about 32 right now spirits that kind of just hang out in the yard. Some of them do need help, but like I said, it's going to take me hours and hours to go out there and figure out what they need and to help.
Why do you think they come to you? I'm not saying that as an insultive question.
No, you're fine. When I had that experience, I was telling you guys about where I had to reach out to someone. So this man I spoke to, he told me that when you have the ability to see them, he said, imagine that you're in this, it's dark outside. Okay. There's nothing, you can't see anything, but then you see a flashlight and you want to go to that light to see what it is. He said, it's kind of like when bugs go to a light at night, they see that light inside of you and they know. So they're kind of just all going to you. And it makes perfect sense. At least with me, it does. It makes so much sense why I've had experiences my whole life and why they follow me. You know, even when I don't want them to, sometimes they still follow me. So that makes a lot of sense. You know, it's like bugs to a light. They know that you have that light in you and that you have that ability to help them.
Yeah, that's actually a very beautiful way to put it. And I never would have thought about it that way. You know, everything's black, and then you're kind of that beacon of light in order for them to kind of to go to. And you know, when you get ghosts that are coming to you, and I'm sure you get them of all ages, of all timelines, is it easier to deal with ghosts that are, say, from a further away timeline than a newer timeline where maybe they just crossed over?
Time doesn't really exist anywhere but where we are. So humans, so even if they've been gone for like 200 years, you know, they don't realize that. So it's kind of like sometimes it's still fresh to them. They still are like looking for their family, or they don't realize they're dead still, even, you know, 200 or 300 years later. The little boy that I was talking about earlier, that I have him recorded on video, he passed away in the late 1800s. It might have been early 1900s, but the way he was dressed, it was definitely maybe 1902, 1903, maybe a little before that. He was still kind of looking for his mom. She had passed away too at the same time he did. So I don't know what happened to where they couldn't find each other. I still don't know that. I'm still learning so much. You never stop learning when it comes to cryptids, paranormal, any of that. You never stop learning. And, you know, I don't know why some need help. Some, you know, I guess they're just looking for somebody, or they don't realize they've died. Maybe they get lost. I don't know how that works yet, but I did help him reunite with his mom. He was actually murdered by his father. A very sad story. I was crying the whole time. You know, I was helping him. I get so attached to them and their stories, and you know, I feel bad for them, even though they're dead, even though they scare people sometimes if they show up. They were human, you know, they had emotions too. They had feelings too. They were still human. And we have to remember that when we're dealing with paranormal. They're not all these, you know, dark black creatures that you see on TV shows and all that stuff.
No, I can totally understand that, and I can appreciate that. How can you tell, though, if a spirit is telling you the truth? Because I think the biggest misconception that we have is that these spirits can manipulate and be whomever we want them to be.
They can. I mean, they can kind of show you what they want to show you, like their outfits, their clothes. At least for me, that's how it works. And, you know, everybody that has any type of ability, we all have different abilities. Some people that I run into, think that it's all black and white, that everybody's the same. And that's not true. You know, some people can see them different ways than I do. But for the most part, I've never really dealt with that too much. There's been ones that will try to make themselves look scary, like a big shadow figure, or, you know, try to be really tall and creepy. And it's just a human spirit that's just angry and ticked off. And, you know, they were like a negative person in life, so they're still acting like that. Usually that's what it is, in my experience.
Right. So for you, can you tell if a ghost is actually hiding its own truth to you?
Usually the ones that are like kind of been tricksters or play in that field, they're very very strong with energy. They're very well versed in this. So they know exactly what they're doing. They're very conscious to the idea of like them tricking people or trying to scare people. So they're doing it intentionally, I guess. It's not unintentional. But usually even those ones, I can either make them leave or talk them into crossing over. So I've helped a lady cross over one time, and she was attached to a doll that was given to me by one of my good friends who lives close to me. Her grandkids were afraid of it. And after I worked on it for, kind of messed with it for a little while, the lady attached to this, she didn't like kids. She didn't like people. She cussed me out the whole time. And, I'm like, do you not want to go? Like it's like been at a bar. You can't go home, or you don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. It's either I help you now, or you're going to have to wander around and wait. And who knows how long it's going to be before somebody else is offering you what I'm offering you. And usually I can get them to cross over, even the mean ones. They'll go out kicking and screaming, but usually I can get that to happen.
All right. You've had interaction with the fairy realm. What's that like? And tell us a story or two about that.
So I've kind of always been kind of lenient with fairies, with the fae, because I've heard so much of like, if they take something of yours, or like if you put a yard decoration out and they think it's that you're gifting it to them and they take it, like you could be in debt to them, or your family could be in debt to them for like generations. I don't know if they all work like that, or it's just some of them, but there's definitely some in the woods behind me on our property. We've got a lot of stuff back there. And it was last year, I bought a really cool blue pendulum, and it unscrews and you can put like crystals or sage in it. I hadn't bought a new one for many years, so I love this thing. I just bought it, and I had taken it with me somewhere. We had went to like a concert, and I put it in my pocket. I don't know why I took it with me. I got home and I'm like, it's gone. I couldn't find it. I looked everywhere for it for weeks and weeks. We tore the house apart looking for it. So then I start, asking my house ghost questions, and I figured out that something actually took it. I didn't drop it somewhere. I even reached out to another friend I have who has the ability to find missing items, and she can see where they're at. And it was like all dark. Like she couldn't see where this was at. So I kind of gave up on it. And then just a few weeks ago, we had been shopping at Sam's Club. We come home, open the front door, and it's literally laying stretched out across my door. It's been gone for months. It's just laying right there on the floor. Like there's no chance it could have gotten there. I don't know. They brought it back. They currently do have about 4 more items of mine. They come in the house and take things. So far, they haven't brought anything else back. Hopefully they do. But I know it's not like one of the spirits taking the stuff, because my house ghost would have told me. So, yeah, I don't know. Are
you sure you don't have little people who are looking into this stuff? Because I know up here with First Nations culture, they have a lot of little people who are tricksters who do this kind of stuff.
One time when I was filming in my woods, I did a whole series of like my haunted homestead, because my woods are creepy. So I was like trying to be brave and go in there and film. I did see this, I don't know what it was. It almost looked like Gollum. I mean, it's about 2.5, 3 feet tall, and it was solid white and kind of blurry, but it was shaped like a human. And it went around the tree. I saw its hands and its face, and then it went back behind it. I did have the camera on it, but my flashlight, it's like 1800 lumens, but it doesn't like zoom in. It's wide open. So I couldn't see it. I did not get it on film, even though I would have loved to, but I did see it. I don't know what it was. I've seen it a couple of times since then. I've seen ones that are flesh colored, or like a beige, and it was a little taller. It didn't have any clothes on. It was kind of blurry face, just human shaped. And it was behind the tree right in front of my yard. Like there's a tree right by the house, and it just kind of peeked around and took off. I don't know what those are. They won't tell me. So some of them, I only know what they tell me. So if they don't want to talk to me, then it's just kind of my guess at it.
Do you believe then that there is a difference between fairies and the little people that many First Nations and or American Indians have interaction with?
Yes. The most common things that we kind of all talk about, or a lot of people know about, are like the fae, some of the cryptids and spirits, ghosts. But there's so many things. There's so many other things. Like on my property, I have 2 ancient entities that live there. They don't like me. I don't really like them, but we respect each other. I kind of set a boundary with them, and they agreed to it. When I see them, they show themselves about 20 feet tall, solid black, huge with these red eyes. They're really scary. They've been there for probably 200 or 300 years. They're not leaving. They want to stay there. And I mean, I don't know really what they're called other than I just call them my ancient entities. I've never seen that before anywhere else. But there's so many other cryptids. Like there's so many other things of different dimensions. I always say that if people knew everything that existed or could see everything that was out there, like all the different beings and creatures, nobody would ever leave their house again, ever. People would be terrified. And maybe that's why a lot of people don't see all of them, because, it'd be scary.
Let's get into some of that woo. I mean, that you can't hype up that type of woo without giving us some examples here. We need this fix.
So, I think the entities that live behind my house are just like some kind of nature. I don't know if it's like a nature spirit, but they've just been there a long time. They do not like when I'm there. I did go up there and I'm like, hey, if you guys are cool with me being here, like there's a part we don't mow, okay, because it's a hillside. So in the woods, we don't mow that. I go up there sometimes. Some of my goat pen goes up in there, but I'm like, you guys stay here. Don't come down where it's mowed. And I'm not going to go up there and bother you. And so far they've done that, because they did used to come down. There was a time a couple of years ago, a friend and I were sitting in my yard on the hill, and we're, using dowsing rods, trying to talk to the people that are buried on my property. And I got shoved on my shoulder. And I know it was them that did it. It wasn't just a random spirit. It was one of those entities.
Right. So my question is, when you're dealing with this, how do you know that there are certain areas on your property you can and cannot go? Have you you've obviously made deals with some of these creatures?
Yes. Some people may say that's not a good idea, but it works for me. I can go wherever I want, but I just don't, I don't mess with them. Like I don't go out there and bug them and ask them a lot of questions. If I need to go up in the woods and walk around, they usually leave me alone. But they don't come down past where I've mowed, which is kind of the way I want it. The spirits there, the ghosts, they just kind of go wherever. Our house was built in 1850. So when I looked up the property stuff on it, it says there's an unmarked grave. I have not found it yet. So there's no headstone. There's none of that. I have suspicions of where I think it is. And I think there's 3 people buried around that area. It didn't say how many people were buried or the names of who was buried there, but it was from a long time ago. So they're still roaming around there somewhere too. There's a lot going on at that place, just a lot.
Oh man. Do you think that your yard, or let me ask you this, how much acreage do you have?
It's about 2 acres.
Okay. Do you think with those 2 acres that you have some sort of portal or some sort of gateway to the other side on your property?
Yes, there is a portal, and it's over by my trash can near the road. It doesn't get used as much as what people would think portals get used. I have not blocked it off. I'm not sure how to do that. I'd have to look it up or, just go mess with it. But it doesn't get used a whole lot. I will tell you, and people are going to think I'm nuts. Okay, a lot of people have, I'm sure, seen like the show A Haunting, or where people go tell their ghost stories of when they move in this house and it's haunted. Well, we kind of did that. So we move into this place and all the bedrooms are painted black. The ceilings are painted black, and there's 666 written all over the walls. There's a mirror in the bathroom that I really didn't throw away till I left it there for years and years and years. And there was definitely stuff in that, something with that mirror. Stuff was going on but I just kind of took some primer and painted over all of it. So, I just painted over it and was like, forget it. But then all this stuff happened, and we watch these shows and you're like, oh my gosh, why don't they just move? Why don't they just move? But we did it too. So I don't know.
No, I understand that. I totally understand exactly what you're saying regarding that, because I've been on properties where there has been a lot of interaction and reaction with that. Do you think it's the area you live in, or do you think that because you're there, it's happening?
No, it's definitely the area. I think anywhere I would go, they're going to follow me and be there. Maybe not some of the other stuff in the woods. Actually, right before this show, I was sent a video from a friend, neighbor, right down the road. They caught it on their camera outside, and you can see this white thing. It looks like it has wings, but it's like literally, it's not a bug. It's tall, but it's just kind of jumping all over their cars and walking down the street, going in the woods, running all over the place. And I'm like, I'm not there right now, but I'll go over there tomorrow night and check it out. It's awesome. I'm going to see if she'll let me post it on my TikTok tomorrow. It's really cool looking.
Really? That is awesome. Now, do you also, I know you've had some bad stuff happen with aliens, but do you have a lot of UFO activity that happens on your property as well?
Not that I've really noticed. Like I said, the first time I saw a UFO, I was 5, and I still remember that. And then I've always looked at the sky with like this wonder, there's so much out there. If you just look at it, I could get like almost like in a trance just looking at the sky. But there was another time, I was probably like 19 or 20. I was driving home. There was two cars of us. And we saw some stuff in the sky, and everybody pulled over and just watched them. They weren't airplanes. So we've seen this stuff a few times, and I've seen some weird stuff at the house, but it passes by. It doesn't stop. So, I'm not sure if there's like a correlation with what's going on my property and the ETs or anything, but I know that there's something I'm not experienced in. So it's like, I don't know enough about them. You know what I mean? To base my decision. I just know that they scared me, and I don't really want to go there again if I can help it. But I've heard once they make contact with you, they're going to keep doing it. So we'll see.
Well, if you're already connected to the phenomena, that's usually what happens.
Yeah.
You already know that, though.
Yeah. There's some parts of it that I don't really like, but I'll just deal with it when it happens. Hopefully I'll be prepared next time, and I'm prepared.
That's the problem with damn aliens. You're never prepared.
Right.
You're never prepared. When you think you're prepared, they never come around. But when you're not prepared and you let your guard down, that's when the jerks come in and take you with Science Bob.
See, that's what that's my fear, is I don't want to be taken anywhere.
Girl,
I could have already been taken and not know it. I don't know.
You have. Let's just be honest. You already know that.
I don't know. Especially having that experience when I was that young. That was my first experience I remember, seeing that. So, it wasn't with a ghost. It wasn't with anything like that. It was with a UFO, something in the sky.
Hey, I understand your fear. I live it every day, because you never know when it's going to happen. It's
right.
Even with the paranormal stuff, you have it happen often enough, and so often and frequent, it's second hat to you.
Yes, but it still scares me sometimes. Some of them still get to me.
What would get to you? We got 30 seconds.
When they grab me or touch me, I don't like that. Sometimes that happens. Sometimes I'll be walking through a cemetery and they grab my leg, and that scares me. I'll scream really loud, and I don't like being loud in places like that, because I don't want to draw attention to myself that, hey, there's this lady up here, and she's by herself and she's in a cemetery. Because if I'm noisy, people see me like humans, and I don't want other humans there with me. But it scares me when they touch me or grab me. I don't like that.
And on that note, we're going to say goodbye to hour number 1 and hello to hour number 2 right around the break here on Spaced Out Radio. Amber from Amber's Paraworld. You'll find her on TikTok and YouTube. And we're going to continue on. We're going to get into the cryptid world next with her because she loves chasing down the monsters. And I love Monster Talk here on Spaced Out Radio. I'm just going to quickly step aside. I'll be right back in a couple of minutes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Thank you, Janica. Trying to read the chat. Okay. Apollo, yes, I do have a lot. I have several photographs of them. Spirits are kind of hard to capture on photo. I'm the first one that can debunk a photo or a video. It's just second nature. A lot of times with orbs and dust, people think that's something, but it really isn't. When did you hear a man's voice? Just now? So right before we started the show, so I'm at my mother-in-law's house because my house is noisy. I have animals and kids. So I'm here and she lives across from a cemetery and I'm sitting here by myself and I hear a woman talking behind me. So if you guys hear anything or see anything, it's probably coming from the cemetery. Paul, maybe. I hope so. I know the little boy that I helped, he really did. He called me mom a lot. So I have that on some of my videos. He'd say, Mom, he was really lost. He was looking for his mom. He was sad. And I showed him attention. So he definitely, I think he appreciated my help a lot. You know what? I heard that too. I thought maybe it was like some kind of glitch in the audio. I don't know. Okay. If anybody on TikTok watching wants to watch this live on YouTube, jump over to Spaced Out Radio on YouTube because it's live on here. She was just making kind of like, she made some noises and I really couldn't tell what she was saying. Nightmare, hey Kira. Guys, I'm going to step away for just a minute to get me some water. I'll be right back.
Hi, everybody. Radagast, how you doing? Been a while. Excuse me. Don't forget, coming up February 26th, Lynn Wallington will be having a full day, like 6 hours worth of broadcasting on women in ufology on February 26th. I'm excited for it. It's going to be awesome. Absolutely awesome. some of the names who are going to be participating. Let's leave it to start. Lori McDonald, Sev Talk, Dandy Meyer, Cheryl Costa, Alien Girl Amy, Misha Johnson, Chrissy Newton, Melinda Leslie, Christina Gomez, Thin Lizzy, Gemma Jade, Alex Dietrich, Sinead Wellahan, Geraldine Orozco, Samantha Mowat, Kathleen Martin, and Lorian Fenton. Yeah, it's going to be absolutely amazing. So I hope you all take that on in and enjoy just a wonderful day in ufology here on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel. Hi, gorgeous Jessica McCreary. How are you? Terry Brown, nice to see you. Who else has come in late? Yeah. Don't know, 5,900 buck. Don't know. Amber is here from Amber's Paraworld. All right, if you guys have questions, now's the time to post them. We will make sure we ask them. Hi, gorgeous Pam McSee. Jesse Peak, how you doing, buddy? And thank you to Kira, Carlito, and Smithy for the super chats. Remember, the super chat is a wonderful way to support what we do on Spaced Out Radio on a nightly basis. So thank you so much for everybody who is hanging on out and supporting us. We appreciate it. Gatorbait Paranormal says, hi, Amber. Welcome to the channel, Gatorbait. Don't forget to hit subscribe if you don't mind. Here we go with hour number 2, everyone.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Here we go with hour number 2 of Spaced Out Radio tonight. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate earning your listening ears wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Secular. Secular is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on with Amber from Amber's Paraworld, where we are checking on out all of the weird and strange encounters she has in her daily life. She is a psychic medium. She is a channeler. She's had experiences with UFOs, ghosts, cryptids, and everything in between. Now, Amber, welcome back.
Hello.
I got some questions from the audience for you.
Okay.
Let's start off with Bombshell Bomber here, who is asking, what is the scariest and what is the weirdest thing you've seen in the woods? Can you elaborate in detail, please, and thank you.
Let's see. It takes a lot to freak me out, but in my woods, that's the scariest woods I've ever actually been in. As far as, because I think it's the fact that I have to live there. So, that scares me. But, I've had people touch me in there. And then I also, one night I was filming for my YouTube channel and it was starting to get dark. So it looked darker on the screen, but it was a little lighter outside. And I look over toward where my goat pen is, and it's about 50 feet away. And I see this black creature, probably 7 feet tall. And he had his arms sticking straight out, and he walked forward and just kind of disappeared right into the fence. He walked about 3 feet and disappeared. That freaked me out at first. I'm not scared of it now, but it kind of startled me. It looked like a big grizzly bear that just disappeared.
Wow. Was that in shadow figure?
No, I think this was like full body. It was like a beast. It was not a human spirit.
That reminds me of a story when we were running around the property where we were having a lot of interaction. We would see shadow figures across the street in the forest, kind of roaming through the trees. And we walked in there one day, and you know how sometimes trees split into two trees,
Mm-hmm.
and right in between, we saw this shadow man standing there. And I ended up leaving in there as the other guys went and chased it. I walked out, and me and my friend's wife were standing right by the road, and we saw this other shadow man standing right by this sign. And literally, it morphed into a bear and started coming towards us.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that was a little trippy. Let's go to Big J here. Do you use a Ouija board or do blood magic rituals?
No. I've used a Ouija board when I was younger, before I knew what they were. I had a creepy experience. I was probably 9, 10 maybe. We were messing around with it in my friend's basement, which that we should have not been in the basement, right? I had a glass of water sitting on the banister, the stairs going down, and we were messing with it, and the planchette started spinning, and we moved our hands, and it flew off and broke my glass of water about 7 feet away. I didn't mess with any sense. I do think that they can be used to, it's a device to contact spirits. It's a piece of equipment. If you use it with the right intentions, I think they can be used properly. I don't think they're all going to, summon demons like people think they do or see on TV.
Really? Well, that's kind of cool. All right, let's move on here to another question. Sir Whiskers is asking, have you ever seen any black-eyed children?
I have not. I don't know that I want to. I've heard the stories, they knock on your door. Actually, when I got here tonight, I kept having this dreadful feeling like somebody was going to bang on the door. So far, it hasn't happened yet. But I mean, what do you do? Definitely don't talk to them and don't let them in. Don't let them use your phone. But I have not had that experience. I don't want to, but if I ever do, I will definitely document it. I will try to document it the best I can. Everybody would know about it. I would tell people, at least warn people.
No kidding.
But what you said, Dave, about the tree that split and you saw that figure.
Yeah.
When you have time, if you look on my channel, I put out a Dogman video last week, and the thumbnail is literally just a screenshot from a piece of my video because I stink at making thumbnails. I circled it. If you look at it, there's a black figure standing right in that tree.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, that's funny that you said that. We've had a lot of similar experiences.
Do you have Dogman on your property too?
Not on my property. I went somewhere else to film that. I mean, I guess I could have one. Not that I know of.
All right. Larry is asking, how do you help someone pass over? Pass over, sorry.
Well, when I cross them over, usually I'll sit down and I don't film all of them. I filmed a few of them and put on my channel to kind of show people what I do. But sometimes it gets personal. They'll tell me what happens. Usually when I'm filming it, you can just hear them talking. Usually I don't even need a device. So I'll talk to them, let them tell me their name, what happened. They'll show me images like they do when I'm channeling for somebody. And then I'll just ask them, are you ready to go see your family? Are you ready to go see these people that you loved and you missed? Most of them are so ready. And they're like, I can't find the light. I don't know how to do this. And what I do is I'll say, look, I'm going to pray with you. Are you okay with that? And I'll pray with them and I'll ask God to come and take their hand. I'll ask this, the light. I'll tell them to look for the light and, tell them to reach out into the light and go with God, go to the other side to the light. Once spirits get there, they can still come back and visit their family. I think some people have a misconception that once you're crossed over that you can never come back. And that's not true. Some can come and go, you can do what you want, but there are some that's never been there. They've never had that chance to heal. The traumas of this life, they have to heal. And that's what they do there.
All right, let's move on to another question here. This one comes from Radagast. Do you want me to tell you the legend of a cryptid called that's not a question for you. The Kiwa. Yeah, I would like to hear that one day. I would. I like stories like that. While we're waiting for more questions here, I want to ask you, what kind of cryptid activity are you having on your property?
Well, there's a woodman that lives there, like this, like a spiritual Bigfoot. I don't think they're anything to be afraid of for anybody, as long as you have good intentions. Our intentions mean everything. How you go into something, and that's true with human contact. When we talk to people in our lives, our intentions put out this energy. So, if you have good intentions, I don't think there's anything to worry about with the cryptids. Now, I'm not saying that some of them aren't, like maybe the hellhounds or some of these other ones are maybe negative, but as far as like Bigfoot, Sasquatch, I don't think that they should be feared.
Well, yeah, me either. I mean, I think it all depends on where you're going with. I think there's rogue pods of them, much like killer whales.
Right.
Main pods, you don't need to worry about the main pods, but these rogue pods where whales have been kicked out of their pods,
Yes.
they have to come on their own. I think Sasquatch is much the same way in regards to that. How often are you seeing this Sasquatch type creature?
It started out with me filming in my woods and doing a spirit box, and I kept getting Bigfoot. No, I didn't get Bigfoot there. I got that at the other cemetery where I had the dogman encounter. I got Woodman, and it kept coming through, and I'm like, what does this mean? So I started looking it up, and then I kind of figured out that it's sort of like a Bigfoot, just a different type, I guess. So I started trying to contact him. I want to be his friend. And so far, I'm working on that. I do believe that Bigfoot and Sasquatch can come in and out of our realm. That they're kind of on a spiritual level too. Some people think that maybe they're like flesh and blood, like bears. I don't believe that. I don't think anybody's ever going to successfully like just go out and grab one up, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. They're so much smarter than we give them credit for. They know so much. Their energy is way more advanced than ours is. I don't know. I think everybody should just love them and respect them. Respect is so important.
Now, this one, is it just the one on your property, or is there more?
There's a family on my property.
Okay.
A family of them.
That's very cool. That's very cool. How often are you interacting with them?
This just happened recently. I haven't actually told hardly anybody about this because I decided one night, I'm like, if I can channel people who have passed away, if I can get images from them and hear them talk, why can't I channel one, right? That's what my thought process was on this. So I just kind of jumped into it. I laid my phone on the couch. It's facing the ceiling. I didn't actually like record this. I used my dowsing rods a little bit, and it was quiet other than my fish tank. It's so noisy. The new pump is like a waterfall, and it's so loud. I should have unplugged it, but I didn't. Anyways, I'm talking to him, and I'm like, hey, are you there? And I could hear him. Like, you can, on my audio, you can hear him talking. He didn't say a whole lot of words, but he did say like yes and no's and a few words. But it was a growly voice. It was not any of the spirits in my yard. I know what they sound like. So yeah, I did communicate with him, and he did say he did not like to be called Bigfoot. He did not like it at all. He didn't like to be called Sasquatch. So I guess that's just our names for them, but he didn't like it. He was hesitant to let me know about his children, and I guess any of them would be. I'm hoping to try to document more of these encounters with him, and then eventually, once I get his permission, and I do want to ask his permission before I would share it with anybody, because I'm trying to earn his trust and his respect. So I don't want to do anything to ever, make him not trust me. And people can think I'm nuts if they want, but if I'm talking to him, I want his permission before I share that stuff. But yeah, I can, when I play it back, I can hear him. I can hear him talking. It was really cool. It was an amazing encounter. I'm glad he trusted me to talk to me, but he told me his name, and I thought it was really cool. So, and that he has a family. He does have a family. And of course I asked, this was like right around the time I had this experience with the ETs. So I did ask about the ETs. He doesn't like them. And I never thought that they did anyways. So I kind of they're different. Even if they're both on a different realm, they're different. Because I know there's a lot of people that think that Bigfoots could be extraterrestrial. I've heard that so many times lately, that they're like kind of working with them, but I don't believe that's true at all. He didn't like them. He doesn't want nothing to do with them. They do like the Fae, at least the ones on my property. They like the Fae. They work with them. And I think there's an ultimate, there's this goal, there's this main reason that's bigger than we know right now of why they are allowing people to contact them, and why this is all going to come together soon. And I think we're going to have to work with these cryptids and these other species that sometimes people don't understand. We'll eventually have to work with them for a higher cause one day.
Well, we'll see. Does he like being an enigma?
He just kind of hangs around. I think they are well aware that humans kind of seek to destroy, Well,
I get you there.
If we just have good intentions and show respect, and this is with spirits or anything like that, then what our results we get are not as bad. Some people have it in their mind that this thing is going to kill you, this thing is going to hurt you, and you can't tell them different. So then when they go out somewhere, yeah, they're going to have a bad experience. They may not have an experience at all, but if they do have one, it's probably going to be bad. We have to learn to change the way we think. Our emotions and our words, they have so much power, they really do. And we speak so much negative into existence when we really should be speaking positive things into existence, manifesting the positive and the good stuff. And people do it with negative all the time, not thinking twice. And they make so many bad things happen because of that. So intentions, people, always watch your intentions and what you say. Right.
Let's get to another question from GameBed here. Can a spirit or angel take human form?
Yes. Spirits can be, full-bodied apparitions. You could see them as possibly like an energy ball, like an orb. They can take many shapes. Angels, I'm not sure of. I have not seen an angel, so I'm not sure of it.
I think they can, but that's my personal belief.
I know, like, if you want to go back to the Bible, there are some that have angel, that take human form, but also angels are not the cute little cherubs people think they are. They're going to be like 4 wings and all these eyeballs and different heads. Like they're scary looking. So
Nicole is wondering, is there any spirits around anyone in the chat room?
Yes. If anybody's ever been on one of my live streams, then you'll know that, like, I'll just blurt out like, hey, who's this person? Yes. But I'm trying not to let that happen so I can focus on this interview.
Follow up from Nicole. Have you ever had incidents with dogmen?
Yes. About a year and a half ago. And this is the same place that I filmed recently at. We were leaving. I had already stopped filming, and this always happens when you're not filming, right? But there was 4 of us there. So we're walking down the steep, we were in the woods, no cell phone signal, no communication with the outside world. And we're walking down this really steep hill, and we hear growling. But it was like this dark, deep growling, like snarling, and it was right beside of us. And we didn't see anything. We heard 2 of them. Then we heard them running and just growling, and there was nothing there. So we all kind of did what anybody else would do and just ran. I did go back looking for it. I went back to look and see if I could find prints. Are there going to be paw prints? Are there going to be any kind of tracks from these animals? Am I going to hear it again? So I went back to see if I could find it again or hear it again. There is a little bit of growling toward the end of my video that it's very faint, but I definitely do think it's there. It could have been a hellhound. I'm not sure.
Hellhound. That just sounds scary.
Yeah.
Have you seen them?
I think that could have been what that was rather than a dog man. But then when I did go back on the spirit box, we got hellhound, dog man, wolf man, all this stuff was coming through, Bigfoot. This place is like loaded with just a lot of stuff, but they're out in the middle of nowhere. There's a lot of woods, when you have all these mountains and woods, and you put a road or two in between, somebody's going to see something eventually, you're isolated.
Fishbrella Corporation is asking, have you ever seen the Black Hat Man?
I have not seen the one that people talk about like on TV shows or stories. I know what you're talking about. I have not seen that one, but I have seen spirits that wear hats. I don't know if that's like a human spirit or just a certain one that goes in and kind of torments people, kind of like an old hag. I'm not sure about that one.
I'm just, those things bug me. That's what kind of irks me. Gets the tingling going down my spine. All right, let us go on to another question here. Another one from Game Vet. Can a ghost or spirit take physical human form?
Yeah, they can absolutely. You could see them. There's been times I've seen them just like I'm looking at you. At the restaurant, for example, we're eating, ordered some wings, and we're sitting there middle of the day having lunch, all of us there, and I'm sitting at the edge of the booth, and I look over and there's this big man standing there, and I screamed so loud everybody stared at me, and then he was just gone. He ended up following me home. He passed away from heart trouble and been sick a couple years ago. But he had blue mechanic pants on. They were dirty. His shirt was dirty. He had a maroon shirt on. It was dirty. And he had a kind of like a big belly that hung out of it. And his face was blurred too. I could not see his face. But he was just kind of like, hey, here I am. He wanted help is what he wanted. And I offered that to him.
Did he take it?
Yes. Yeah, he was just really sick and in bad health and passed away. He worked on cars for a living. He just didn't take care of himself. And I think he kind of, at first he was like, didn't want to accept that he had died. A lot of them do that. It scares them. But I talked to him and got him to cross over and he was good.
Right on.
I even have I don't even know if it's on my channel or not, but I was recording one night when I was out there talking to spirits, and I was out in my yard and it was dark, and I have it just on regular audio. This man, when I'm trying to cross him over, he says, I see it. I see the light. You can hear it plain as day. I've got a lot of cool audio like that.
All right, let's move on. We got about 90 seconds. We got time for one more question from Gloria. Have any of the spirits shared with you if they have seen heaven?
I've had spirits tell me that they've seen Jesus. Yes. I've never had any tell me that they've seen hell. Okay, hell might be here on earth. We're energy. So I've never had any say that they've been to hell. I think all spirits, all souls have the chance to go and heal. As unfortunate as that sounds, especially for people that do really bad things in life, everybody has a chance to go heal, from my understanding.
All right. Maybe we can... No, we'll wait. We'll wait for Dawn's question. I have a few more questions from our audience as we continue on. We have Amber's Paraworld here for another 30 minutes on Spaced Out Radio. You can check her out on her YouTube channel. She got over 26,000 subscribers and followers on TikTok as well, where her paranormal videos are absolutely amazing. And if you're on TikTok, you definitely want to check them out. I would highly recommend you do so. And coming up at the top of the hour, in hour 3, we have the Swamp Dweller giving us another spooky story. We'll have Fedora John with the UFO Report, Shirky Poo's news, and the thought of the day Man, the next 90 minutes are going to be jam-packed. I hope you're enjoying this tonight as much as I am. Amber's Paraworld, her experiences, your questions continue on Spaced Out Radio for the next half hour. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear.
Awesome.
Yeah. That'll be our next question there. James Fadekey, how you doing? I'll get to your question. Who else has come on in here? I'm a little behind in the chat room. Let's see here. What else has come on in? Rocket 9, good to see you. JKGN, nice to have you here. Harry Man, Hoaxes and Hoodwinks, welcome to our channel. Latro, thanks for joining us. The Gorgeous Jan, nice to see you back. Lots of people came in. Who else? I is looking. My Gypsy Road, can't take me home. Welcome back. Fabster, congratulations on your team's Super Bowl win yesterday. Appreciate it. I think he's still drunk. Probably is. He won't even be insulted that I said that. Holy cow, I'm like way behind in the chat room right now. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Hi, Sandra. Lovely Lavira, welcome back. All right, we're caught up here. When we get through to the next half hour, just stay tuned while we go into break, and then I will say a proper good night to you. Mario Panopoulos, how are you? And who else just came in here? Where to go? Where to go? Magnus, what's happening? Yes, I figured that one out, Don. Our man, Zune. I'll be here, Zune. All right. Having fun, Amber?
There's someone talking, and I don't know if it's outside or inside. I don't know. Trying to figure that out. But yes, I'm having fun.
I'm sitting here quiet listening.
This has been a good night. Hopefully I'm not boring everybody.
You have a man to your right. Kind of off camera.
Who?
You.
Me?
Yeah.
Over here?
Yeah, but this way. So, for instance, this is my right. It would be like over.
Did you hear that?
Here. Yeah.
The door just slammed. There's no one in this house but me.
Awesome.
Like I said, we're across from the cemetery, so.
Mm-hmm.
The last time I was here by myself, Middle of the day, I kept hearing banging in the closet, and I'm like, what is going on? I recorded it too. I'm like, what is this? It was crazy.
All right, we have about 30 seconds. I want to say thank you to Whiskers, Kira, Carlito, and Smithy for the amazing super chats. It's a wonderful way to support what we do on this show on a nightly basis. Big thank you to everyone who has so far signed up for Canada's Great Unknown. That's our new YouTube channel for me and Merle. I put the link in the chat room if you haven't signed up already. And both Lynn Wallington and I will be speaking at UFO Con 2022, March 25th through 27th in San Francisco. We'd love to see you all there before the big Vegas party in April. Here we go. We passed the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Appreciate you tuning us on in. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives by going to youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire. Check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. For the final time tonight, our guest tonight, Amber from Amber's Paraworld. You can find her on YouTube as well as her extremely popular TikTok channel called Amber's Paraworld, and we're having fun talking some monsters tonight.
Yes.
Amber, welcome back.
Hey, everyone.
All right. Let's get to some more audience questions. Dawn is wondering, what do you use to help yourself sleep so entities don't bother you?
I don't sleep much. I'm usually up till 3:30 to 5 in the morning. And then, I have an 8-year-old that I homeschool. So there's not a lot of sleep for me. I do take melatonin, but that's about it. Sometimes it works. Sometimes it doesn't. I listen to a lot of meditations for nighttime as well. Some of them are amazing. Some I'll try, like I'll put on like an 8-hour one. But some of them give me nightmares. It's crazy. I love to meditate. I'm all about, manifesting and meditating in our lives. But some of them, you have to find what works for you, because some are, well, at least for me, some of them can give me nightmares.
What kind of nightmares do you get?
I've had ones from been out on a dock and then an alligator jumps out and rips my kid's legs off in front of me. There's ones where I go into this, and this one just kind of sticks out because it was really every time I'd wake up and fall back to sleep, I kept having this dream. There was this house and I'm in there and there's people in army gear and they're just kind of hiding around the corners and they're go out this way and we're trying to run away and we're going up roads and this animal shapeshifts into some kind of wolf. Just crazy ones.
All right, let's move on to another question. Radagast is asking, can you make things move without touching them?
I've never tried, but probably not.
James is wondering, can you ask Amber if she's ever communicated with a Bigfoot using a spirit box?
Not getting the voice on there with a spirit box. I did have Bigfoot Woodman come through on the spirit box as far as the name, but I believe that was a human spirit saying that that's what's out there. Like I was talking about earlier, I did communicate with one by talking to him. I think they're awesome. And I do think that they're more of a spiritual type being. When you put that they're in the woods all the time, people forget that trees, even though they produce oxygen. They also have the ability to take negative and make it positive. And there's also like different ones like pine, mahogany, oak, maple. They all have special abilities, and those abilities can be like manifesting. These abilities can be protection, grounding. There's all kinds of abilities that trees have that people don't know, like that or don't realize. And when you put these cryptids in the woods with all this positivity and these amazing elements, you know, I think a lot of cool things can happen. And, you know, they're using this to communicate with us and with trees, and they're communicating with, you know, other species and other life forms. And I don't know, I think that they're just, they're amazing. And hopefully people will get to see that, you know, one day. I'm not sure how scientific it's going to be, but people will get to see that.
All right, let's move on. I know we got a ton of questions here, so I'm going to race through some of them. 5900 is asking, since there is no time on the other side, could you not meet your last reincarnated self?
I'm not sure how that works. I've heard of it happening before, but I'm not sure on that one.
All right. Apollo wants to know, is there a connection between ETs and the spirit world?
They're definitely on another dimension. So I think anything outside of our realm, what we live in right now, I would consider that like a spirit or another dimension. So I'm sure other people may have different terms for it, but I definitely think so, but not in the same sense as a spirit or a Bigfoot, I guess.
All right. Bomber is wondering, have you ever seen a Sasquatch up close and personal?
The one that I saw in my woods, the one I was telling you about that like was kind of muscular. I think that could have been him. Like I got a glimpse of him, but I have seen some really good videos and photos from friends that it's undeniable.
Big J is wondering, have you ever noticed shadows shifting in the woods?
All the time. They're always there. Yeah.
Give us a story of one so we understand.
It's like just seeing something a little darker, but then you see it walking. I see that all the time. I saw it when I pulled in here. The cemeteries across there, I could just see them walking. And they look just like black shadow figures. I'm sure if I were closer or if it was a little brighter, maybe they wouldn't be as dark. I don't know. But yeah, it's constant movement. A lot of people, even in the chat, probably experience this too, but maybe they brush it off as something else. You know, when you think you see something out the corner of your eye and then you look and you're like, oh, it must have been my hair or something. You know, start taking it for what it is, because most of the time we're getting signs that way, and people brush it off as they're, you know, they just didn't see it, or it must have been their imagination.
All right, let's move on here to another question. This one from Nikki. Have you ever experienced spirits who are of other religions, and have you crossed them over too?
I've never had any specifically say that they are of a certain religion. I have had some that don't agree at first about like me praying with them and helping them cross over. And usually those are just the angry ones. So I have not had that personal experience. I think when it comes to going to the light, I could probably just talk them over without praying with them. But I just do that. There's people that do it other ways, but you can also just kind of talk to them and say, hey, you know, look for it, you know, watch this light open up. You know, it's bright, it's warm. This light's going to draw you in. You know, you can talk to them without using prayer as well.
All right, moving on. Big J wants to know, do you think Bigfoot originated from Mars?
I do not. Like I said earlier, there's been a lot of talk about Bigfoot and ETs related, but I do not believe that.
All right. JKGN is wondering, what has Bigfoot communicated with you outside of that they don't like being called Bigfoot?
Yeah, they don't like Bigfoot or Sasquatch. They like to go by their actual name, and they each have individual names just like we do. They did say they didn't like, the one I talked to did not like aliens. They don't want anything to do with them, but they did like the Fae. I didn't take this conversation very far at first, because I didn't want to start out and just bombard with questions. If that makes sense, I wanted to kind of ease into it. So I do plan to have another session. I tried another one after that, and I really couldn't hear him as well. So I kind of ended it there. I kind of have to be in the right frame of mind as well with meditation before I can, I need to do this.
Nicola wants to know, do you think you have a skinwalker on your property?
I do not. I don't think it is, but there's just a lot of stuff out there. I've seen things, and I don't even know what they are, that will crawl on the ground like spiders or snakes and slither up trees, and they're not demons either. I don't know what they are.
Nikki would like to know, how many spirit guides do you have, and do you know all of their names?
I do not know their names. I'm not sure how. I know some people can meditate and find out. That's just something I haven't done yet. Like I said earlier, it's hard for me to have quiet time. I'm very busy at home. I have a farm and a homeschool, and I'm just always busy. So for me to have that quiet time that I really need to do something like that, I haven't done that yet. I do want to do that, but I do not know.
All right, and let's move on to Doris's question. Do spirits bother your animals?
Yes, I think they're curious about them. They've never tried to hurt them, but my dog, who stays out with my goats, he's a Pyrenees, he sees them a lot. He'll bark at him sometimes. Even when he was a puppy, when he was inside, I was videoing him learning how to sit, and he was just like this little fluff ball. And you hear a man say, pup, pup, and he turns and looks at him. So that's really cool. I think I have that on my TikTok channel. He sees them, he hears them. And I definitely think that the geese do, because they're super loud when they hear or see something. And sometimes in the middle of the night, you can just hear them honking and going nuts.
All right, back to the spirits. Paul is asking Amber, where do they cross over to?
They go into the light. They go to the place where, I guess people go to heal and to review their lives and, figure out if they want to come back and what lessons they need to learn.
Fishbrella would like to know, Amber, is it normal for spirits to move things? I was pouring coffee the other day and my mug slid across the counter. There was 3 people in the kitchen that witnessed this.
They can, if they're trying to get your attention. I would look at first, did you feel scared? If you're not scared or didn't feel threatened, then I'm sure it's nothing negative. They can use their energy and try to connect with us. If you've had somebody pass away that you were close with, a grandma, a grandpa, it could be an aunt and uncle, whatever. Maybe somebody that used to come to your house a lot. They can do stuff like that. They can close doors and rock chairs and try to get your attention. And you may have abilities as well that you're kind of harnessing in. You need to kind of open those up with some meditation if you choose to do that.
Yeah, you got aliens too, Fishbrella, because everybody's got aliens. It just makes it more fun that way. James is wondering, Amber, do you think orbs are related to Bigfoot somehow or something different?
I'm not sure. I think they could be. I mean, I don't think we could really say that something is not possible, because with all the things out there, I mean, we limit ourselves enough with saying we can't do things, we shouldn't do things. We can't limit spirit or cryptids. That's out of, I think that's out of our ability to do that. I definitely think it's possible. I mean, the same energy that's in me, that's in Dave, that's in everybody else, that same energy is in trees, it's in all the animals, it's in cryptids, it's in spirit. We have that same life energy it's in everything we love. So I think it could happen.
All right, let's move on to another question here from our audience. This one comes from, let me check here. Where'd it go? I lost it. Son of a gun. I lost it. I will ask you a question then while I'm searching for some audience questions here. The fact that you have all of this type of activity happening around you on a daily basis, and you say you don't sleep much, how do you know it's not your own imagination or lack of sleep that is causing your own mind to maybe project these happenings?
I guess that would be a possibility. But I mean, I definitely get confirmation for the things that I see and feel. You know, when I go to a place, I like to go in there without knowing the history of it. I tell the people, if it's a place that you pay for to go to, I will tell them, you know, I don't want to know who felt what, where, what experience happened to whoever, you know, works here, lived here. I don't want to know. I want to go and see what I feel, what I pick up. And then, you know, sometimes I'll use a dowsing rods or a spirit box and see if I get the same answers. And then I like to ask the people afterwards, you know, tell them what I felt, what I experienced, and then see if they confirm it or not. So I get confirmation with it. But I guess I could be a little kooky too. I don't know.
Right. Okay. Well, I mean, and I don't ask that question insultingly. I'm more about asking because, you know, I don't think a lot of people understand that the more experiences that you have, the more your mind does not shut off, and the more it affects everything that you do. A lot of people, including myself, when I went through it, I felt I was more heightened to the experience, waiting for it to happen. Like I was almost cognizant of when something was going to happen. Do you get like that?
Yeah, I'm extremely ADHD anyways. So I'm very hyper all the time, but and my body doesn't really require a whole lot of sleep. So, but yeah, I definitely feel like that when I have experiences, which are all the time now, but I think it's a little due to me meditating a lot too. I think if anybody wants to, like, there's different ways you can meditate. You know, you can listen to music in your car, you can dance in your kitchen, but also if you're wanting to reach that higher self, to open those chakras, open your third eye, then meditation is the key, and sitting down and being one with yourself and getting there. You know, it takes work, it takes time. I put a lot of time in. I put literally like a part-time job's worth of hours in every week, meditating and trying to work on myself. So that's a big part of it too.
Right on. Right on. I appreciate that. All right. Nikki is wondering, do you ever have ringing in one ear or both spirits or hierarchies?
Yes, I get ringing in my ears all the time. It happened tonight before the show. I keep feeling somebody like doing this to my head. I keep getting like the tingles on my head. That happens a lot. But yeah, I get the ringing in my ears, and sometimes it's one ear, sometimes it's both ears. It just depends. And it does it on my head, my neck. It's doing it now.
You can always, for people who experience that ringing, it's different than tinnitus, because I have tinnitus.
Mm-hmm.
It's different, and it feels like your ear is being plugged while it's ringing at the same time. And a lot of people don't understand that you can actually ask them to tune it down. So if I will say, "Can you turn it down, please?" And then you usually have to say the second time, "Please turn it down." And all of a sudden the volume on it goes right down to nothing.
See, that's awesome that you do that, because I think a lot of times people forget to use their words. They forget that, you know, you can kind of control what's going on. And, you know, it took me a long time to figure that out, but that's awesome that you're saying that, because it's so true.
Mm-hmm. No, it's very true. I did it the other day. I had it, while I was on the phone with a friend of mine, and I'm like, "Can you turn it down, please?" They're like, "What?" I'm like, "No, not you." Right? It happens. It kind of goes that way. But let's go to another question here from Steve Wolf. Do shadow figures mean negativity?
I don't think all of them are. They just get bad raps from movies, from TV shows. You know, they want you to think that everything is a demon or everything is negative. And I've even been in places with demons, and they did not want to come home with me. They weren't trying to claw me up. But definitely not everything is negative that is in the shadow form. Sometimes that's just how they show themselves. You have to go by what you feel. If you're scared, and then even if you're scared, you have to think about, like, am I scared because I saw that and I wasn't expecting it and I've never seen it? Or am I scared because I feel threatened? Go by what you feel.
All right. Green Meadows wants to know, do you think some health issues make you receptive to spirit?
I definitely think that can happen. Especially people that we've all heard about, like people that pass away having a procedure done, and then they're more in tune to the other side. But definitely, I think so.
I think so too. And I believe, much like pets, there are certain people who have been given a gift that they can, outside of intuition, maybe a stronger connection gift, that they can see things or
Mm-hmm.
hear things or even channel, right?
Mm-hmm.
Very much possible. We're down to 4.5 minutes here with you tonight in a show that's flown on by so far, Amber. For you, you've gone very public with what you're going through on social media, with TikTok, with Instagram, with YouTube. Why was it important to you to bring your research and your experiences to the public?
Well, like I said, I've been doing this my whole life. And even before, like I said, before YouTube, before any of this stuff. So I would literally just have a digital recorder and I'm like, look at all this stuff I picked up. Flip phones didn't record very well back then. And now it's like, I realized when I found YouTube, and it took me a while to find it. I'm not technology savvy. So when I found it, I was like, oh my gosh, there's this whole group of people that have these experiences that do the same thing I like to do. So I'm going to share my experiences with everybody. It was fun for me because I've always loved going places. I like old things, like ancient stuff, antique things. I love anything old. And, I was having all these experiences. So I'm like, why not share it with everybody? And I'm really glad I did, because I think I've helped a lot of people to realize that they're not crazy, that what they're, by explaining to them what they're experiencing. And then, when I do the readings where I connect with people's loved ones who passed away, it does make them feel better. And I never tell anybody, if you want to talk to them again, come back and see me. No, I tell them how to connect with them themselves. I would never do that to somebody. I would never take advantage of anybody. I want people to learn how to do, how to connect if they want to, and I'll help them in any way I can.
That's absolutely awesome. Do you see a time where things will slow down for you, or the next 30, 40, 50 years are pretty much going to be the same?
I will not see 50 more years, but I don't know. I mean, it just, wherever this roller coaster of life takes me, whatever is meant for my path. But I definitely think that I'm doing what I need to be doing right now. I think a lot of people don't follow their true self, like what they really want to do. To anybody in the chat, like, what do you really want to do with your life? Are you happy with what you're doing now, and truly happy? And I always use the example, like a family of doctors, and the son grows up and he doesn't want to be a doctor. Maybe he wants to go sell turnips on the side of the road, grow his own food. But he goes to school to be a doctor because his family told him to. They want him to do that. So at that time, he's living his life for what they want, not for what he wants. So I think there's a time in our lives where we have to stop and look at what we're doing in our life, who we're around, who we're allowing our energy to be used by, and make that decision. Are you going to live your life and make yourself happy and do what makes your heart happy, what makes your soul happy? Or are you just going to kind of spend the rest of your time, hating what you do?
Well, it could be anything. It could literally be anything. 90 seconds left. Do us a favor. Tell everybody about your channels and where they can find you and get a hold of you.
So I'm on TikTok under Amber's Paraworld. I go live on there. I try to do once a week, but usually it's like once every couple of weeks, and I do live readings on there. It's not scheduled. It's just kind of a spur of the moment. On my YouTube channel, I do readings every month. Those readings are free. I can do private readings. You can email me. My email's on my YouTube channel. But I'm very interactive with my subscribers. And, I kind of have a little bit of everything: paranormal, mediumship readings, dog man, Bigfoot, whatever. I have a little bit of everything.
And it's something you continue to enjoy to do.
Absolutely.
Interacting with people and having fun with it. It's a beautiful thing. It's a very, very beautiful thing, Amber.
Yeah,
and I want to say a big thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio. You were absolutely wonderful, and I think you were fantastic. And the one thing I love about you, you're just doing it for you. And I think that's important. Sure, you have messages for other people and you help out other people, but in the end, you know what this is about. It's about for you and your communication and building that up. And I think that is wonderful. There's no hidden agendas there.
No,
I would agree.
this is exactly what you see is what you get.
Well, I think it's wonderful, and you continue with your success, especially on TikTok, coming up to 27,000 subscribers. Coming up next on Spaced Out Radio, we're going to go into the swamp. The fedora-wearing John Hudson will be back, and we got Shirky Poo's news and the thought of the day. A jam-packed final hour coming up on Spaced Out Radio next. Great job, Amber's Paraworld.
Well, thank you for having me on here.
Oh, no problem. Did you have fun?
Yes. I've been I don't know. This has been on my bucket list since last year. I'm like, I've got to be on that show. Thank you so much for having me.
Got you on. We're going to do it again. That was fun.
Oh, I would love to do it again. Absolutely.
Yes. Yes. We will talk soon because I do have some questions that I want to ask you about my own stuff going on.
Okay.
Yeah. If you're cool with that.
There's been I don't know who this is, but I keep seeing a guy with a really long beard. I don't know who he is. I don't know.
I don't know either.
He's got a long beard, but I think he knows you.
Could be that gnome.
No, it's not that.
I don't know. I love that gnome. Love that gnome. I don't know. I'm waiting for my ET experiences to come on back.
Oh my gosh. See, I don't know why you want those. I can't do that.
You know what? You know why I want it? I'll tell you. I'm tired of this nighttime bullshit. Totally tired of the nighttime bullshit. I want that I walk outside after a show because something calls me outside and there is a ship sitting in my backyard and I know it's time to go for a ride. That's what I want. That's the dream. That's on the bucket list. Next to the Paradise City whistle.
Would they let you live stream on it? Probably not, huh?
No. Don't care. It's for me. Mm-hmm. It's for me. That's what I want.
So are you interacting with the good ones though, I guess? Not the negative ones?
I haven't had much interaction in a long time. But I'm waiting. I know it's the calm before the storm. I just don't know when the storm is going to begin.
Yeah. I mean, did it scare you at first?
Oh, it scares me every time. Absolutely.
You like that rush though, don't you?
I want that experience I had with Samantha Mowat in the forest. I would walk up next time. And I want that experience that I had where I saw the UFO 5 days previous to meeting Samantha, where I saw the UFO on the ground and it was communicating with me. And I never walked up to it. I want to walk up to it. That's what I want. There's only a couple things that I want in life that I don't know if I'll ever get. But I want to be within like 20 feet of a Sasquatch.
See, keep manifesting that. Keep saying it. You know, the more you say it and the more you say it's going to happen, you're going to make it happen.
Oh, I agree with you. I agree with you. But we'll see how it goes. Hi, gorgeous Aussie Ange. How are you? The stunning Stephanie Jackson. I'm not afraid of the reptilians. I'm afraid of the little gray dudes. You see, when you astral travel and you get into that other realm, you see a different persona of who you are. And that's what either makes them afraid or makes them come around.
So do you think they would take somebody and then like just never want to take them again?
Yeah. They did that with my son twice at infancy. Yeah. But anyways, I hate to cut off that conversation. Got to run. I got to do the news and get ready for Swampy. Why don't you head into the chat room? Hang on out.
Well, I have about a 30-minute drive home, so, and it's 2:04.
Oh my goodness.
So,
well, say hi to the guy over the computer's right side.
He's not coming home with me, I'm telling you.
No, he doesn't have to. He doesn't want to.
He probably will, though.
No, he's not. You'll have fun. All right, Amber, we'll talk soon, okay?
All right, bye.
Bye-bye. Love her. What good energy. What good energy. We're going to bring her back. We're definitely going to bring her back. Love her. Let me just get ready here. Bring that over here. Just a fan of hers. Total fan. My goodness, I got so many windows open right now. Delete. All right. We have 45 seconds. Don't forget, Sir Whiskers, yes, when I want to be. February 26th to Saturday, Lynn Wallington, Women in Ufology, 6 hours of ufology talk with some of the brightest female minds in North America. They will be here on Spaced Out Radio's YouTube channel, so make sure you check it on out. And let's do this hour 3 thing right now.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio is now underway. Good to have you with us. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you for doing what you do and tuning us in wherever you are on this beautiful planet we call Earth. Hello to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates around North America, digitally on TalkStream Live, Revolution Radio, and KPNL. All of our archives are free. Join us at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Sacular. Sacular is your password. Use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on Spaced Out Radio. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight as we head into the forest. Let's lurk around, see what's in the swamp. Swamp Dweller's back.
Hi, Spaced Out Radio listeners. This is Swamp Dweller. It's time for your nightly dose of spookiness on the show. If you have an interesting encounter or a spooky story that you would like to share, be sure to submit them in at swampdweller.net. You can also find our YouTube channel at youtube.com/swampdwellerreads. Now, let's chill out, relax, and together, let's enter the swamp. Anybody who has ever camped up in the Adirondack area of upstate New York knows just how breathtaking and beautiful it can be any time of year. Last year, I stayed up with my family in a cabin that rested up in the mountains. I had recently split up with my longtime girlfriend, and it seemed like a wonderful place to go clear my head. At first, my theory was correct. It was therapeutic and beautiful, being out in nature, and was nice spending some time with my family. One of the really nice things about this cabin was that it was truly separated from any other resident. The closest cabin or campsite was probably at least a mile or more away. This meant we had total and complete privacy. Or so we thought. One late afternoon, probably around 5 p.m., we heard some shuffling coming from the front of the cabin. We were sitting on the back porch and heard some movement that sounded like footsteps. A little on edge, my brother and I got up and got ready, just in case we needed to leap into action. Suddenly, two middle-aged men walked into the back where we were sitting. I asked in a very abrasive and annoying voice, "Hey, what are you doing? Can I help you with something?" The men just looked and laughed, and said in a cheery voice, "Why, hello there, young man. My name is Louis, and this is Tito. We just really wanted to check the view at this place. We have heard so many wonderful stories." The man seemed nice, but something just did not seem right to me. I still looked at them with an uneasy feeling in my stomach, but my mother, who is a very friendly person, made small talk with the man. Perhaps the most unsettling thing of this entire interaction was the friend named Tito, who was just standing and looking around at the house, with seemingly no facial movements or anything. Louis was charismatic, smiled a lot, and made lots of eye contact, where Tito was almost the opposite. After several minutes of just random small talk, they vanished back into the woods. I was not a fan of this at all, and quickly let my family know about it. Where were these guys coming from anyways, I thought. As I stated previously, the closest place was probably more than a mile or so away, and that place belonged to the guy who owned the cabin we were staying in. So, Louis and Tito must have been hiking for a little while to get to our cabin, which is not unlikely up in the Adirondacks, but something was off about the entire interaction. It bothered me all night. Around 11 p.m., my family went to bed, and I sat around a fire with my brother and his fiancée. Every little noise I heard caused me to jump. My brother told me not to worry about it, and I was just worrying too much and to get over it. I pretended everything was okay, but really, I was still uneasy about our unwelcomed visitors. Shortly after midnight, it was just my brother and me around the fire. We decided to let the last few logs burn before we went inside. This is when Louis decided to pay us another visit, but this time he was not so friendly. My brother and I jumped out of our chairs. We were now facing Louis and Tito, who were coming out of the woods. They looked absolutely crazy. Louis did not have that same charming personality as before. His eyes were bulging from his head, and he flashed his pearly white teeth in an almost sadistic type of way. Tito, who was almost a statue earlier in the day, stood next to Louis, also smiling and slowly approaching me and my brother. Louis started to slowly approach us and said, "This cabin really is lovely. I think we'll be staying here now." He reached into his bag to pull something out. Tito, who was slightly behind him, was already wielding some sort of bushwhacking sword. Not trying to take any chances as to what Louis was pulling out of the bag, my brother decided to tackle the man. He went down with relative ease. As Tito approached my brother with the sword, I ran over and pushed him, strictly only using adrenaline as my motivator. Both men got up and backed away slowly. Louis, now standing about 10 feet away, he kept saying, "You have no idea who I am and who you are messing with. I built this house. This is my land." After repeating this a couple of times, Tito finally spoke up as well and said in an almost robotic voice, "We shall have our land back. We must wait for the right time." Tito grabbed the shoulder of Louis, and they both ran into the woods. Remember, this is midnight in the woods, so it was pitch black other than a soft orange light coming from our fire. We put the fire out rather quickly and went inside the cabin and made sure all the doors and windows were locked firmly. My brother and I stayed up all night basically watching the property and making sure they did not return. I have never been so happy to see the sun in my entire life. The next day we went to see the property owner and told him about it. He said he had never heard those two names before and assured me that no Louis ever built the house. The owner, who we are renting the cabin from, told us that he built the cabin 10 years ago. So, who were these two men that claimed they built the cabin? The owner was kind enough to refund us the rest of our nights, and we got out of there. It definitely isn't the worst encounter by any means, but it was absolutely terrifying to go through. You never know who's going to be creeping around outside, so be sure to always stay safe and lock your doors.
Oh, man. Can you imagine that happening? We thank the big bad swamp dweller for another great episode of The Swamp here on Spaced Out Radio. Had a good chat with Swampy earlier today. Absolutely brilliant, brilliant man. No wonder he's having such great success on his YouTube channel. Go to youtube.com/Swamp Dweller Reads for more spooky stories. Speaking of spooky, it's time for the fedora wearing John Hudson in the UFO Report. Yes, we bring in the fedora-wearing John Hudson with the unbiased UFO report. John comes in after scowling the world. Scouring, not scowling. He may scowl at the world, but he could be scouring at the world for all the UFO news that is going on. Mr. John Hudson, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing well, Dave. I'm doing well. How about you, man?
I am doing absolutely fantastic. You know, it's been a high-quality woo night here on the show, and I look forward to that carrying over here with you here, my friend.
Yeah, she was fun, man. She was, you know, she's one of those people where, yeah, she takes you far on a ledge, but she's so consistent in her telling that you almost, like a lot of people, I'll break up what they're saying, and I'll say, okay, this seems believable to me, this doesn't. But the way she presents, it's like you almost have to take it all for what it is or throw it all out, because she's incredibly consistent and throughout the whole thing. It was quite impressive.
Well, you know what? I thought she was fantastic. I really did. And, you know, she is a very talented woman. You know what I liked about her, John? She didn't force the answers. A lot of paranormal people come on if they're that connected and they're so matter of fact about what is going on that you kind of sit back and you're like, okay, is that true? Is that not true? You know, is that just their opinion or whatever? But with Amber, she just kind of took it all in stride and really just was like, look, I don't know what's happening in the rest of the world. I can only explain what's happening to me. And I thought that was very refreshing.
It's a really good lesson for everyone to take, because the truth of the matter is that even if you know what you believe is true, and even if what you believe is true to the other person, if you state it in such a fashion, there's a good chance that it'll throw them off. So if you really want yourself to be believed, you should try to take your ego out of that one. And it's hard to work on, but it's something everyone should do.
No, I fully agree with you, my friend. I fully agree with you. And you know what? We brought you in here to talk some UFOs, and might as well get it started while you're here. And let's get right into it. There was a UFO spotted in Denver.
This is a super cool story, and the reason it's cool for a couple reasons. So first off, the story starts with this individual, and I couldn't find a good article on it. All I unfortunately found was a YouTube article on it. But what's so cool about this story is that essentially the gentleman who took it, whose name I'm afraid I don't have right now because it was all in the video, I wasn't able to transcribe it. But basically what he did was he basically set up a high-speed camera, and this was not something that he saw with his naked eye. This is something he could only see with his high-speed camera, and you can see the object. I mean, it's very obvious on the screen. Well, what's cool about this story isn't that, because that's been done several times. Is his video of higher quality than others? Yeah, I would say it's a little higher quality, not significantly so. But what's cool is he went to the local news, explained to them how he got the video. They went out and captured their own of the same object.
No.
That's the cool part, right? And so even if it turns out this object, I mean, God, look, honestly, even if it turns out this is some joint fantasy between the two of them and they're projecting this, what I love about this story is the fact that a citizen saw something, went to someone who isn't necessarily an authority, but has hopefully more resources than they do, a news group. That news group took them seriously, went out and did what they suggested and did the investigation, actually got positive results, and then took those positive results and brought them back and presented them on TV. That's fantastic. Now, do we have the answer yet? No. At this point, it would have to be stepped up to another level. But I love the fact that it played out this way, because this needs to be repeated over and over and over and over and over again. This is how to do it. This is the way. This is the good way to do it.
What kind of craft were people seeing?
It's basically it's an object that I've seen before. It's basically a very nondescript kind of cylindrical, oval-shaped sort of object. I wouldn't describe it as any kind of a pill type form to me, but you're only seeing it from one angle. To me, it looked kind of like the craft from Flight of the Navigator.
Oh yeah, I love how that one morphs.
Yeah,
I really
you don't see it so close; it's far off, and you just see it kind of moving around in the distance. And so you don't get a whole lot of detail. But the fact that this thing was showing up consistently enough that he was able to tell this news group, go out to this place during this window of time, point your camera in this direction, and make sure you have your frame rate at this level, and boom, they caught it.
Was that the one where they were standing in like a dirt field?
I believe so. It's actually it's in Denver. It's actually I'm trying to remember, and once again I do apologize. I meant to transcribe the thing, and Thomas Fessler did a great thing on it on the 11th that I would recommend everyone go check out. But I mean, this is all brand new. There's nothing to report yet as far as results. But I just love the fact that it played out. How, I mean, this is honestly, I wouldn't have even recommended this to someone, because honestly, I would have had a hard time believing it was even possible. But the fact that this all played out this way, I mean, I think this news agency deserves some kind of a huge reward, just for the way they played it.
Well, you know what? So many times we hear, John, that the news media is very fickle when it comes to this type of story. They don't have a lot of resources. Most stations don't, believe it or not. And they don't have a lot of time to play around. And yet this camera person and this reporter, I believe they spent like somewhere between 6 to 12 hours out there just having their camera pointed at the sky, at the frame speed that the guy said. And when they pulled it off, I mean, this thing was doing zigzags. It was doing
it's crazy to watch.
90-degree turns. It was crazy in regards to this. But I mean, UFO aside, we have given the mainstream media a very, very hard time, and we have been extremely critical, and I think deservingly so, as a former member of the mainstream media, where they haven't taken this story seriously. So the fact that they would do this and take the time to do this is what impresses me.
And I agree with you. However, the one caveat I would throw out there is that in this case, he gave to them the one thing that everybody has been asking for 50 freaking years. And that is a prediction of it happening in the future that you could then go to and do further analysis of. And that is what's always missing in every other situation. And in this one situation, so for all those scientists have been saying forever, we need repeatability, we can put in a science experiment, this is it. For all those people that were complaining, hey, we can't get repeatability because we can't get into science, this is it. This is what we're talking about. And now, will it always play out this way? No, because most of the time it's not repeatable. But the fact that it was this time, yes, this is so awesome.
I want to ask you, how do we know it's a UFO and not just a blurry bug?
So obviously in the very beginning, you're trying to fail out things of perspective, right? So things where objects appear bigger or smaller than they actually are because of their distance to the lens. And so those are always things that you're going to go through. And my understanding is that analysis was done right off the bat, because there was at one point some concern that it could have been something on the lens. But the fact that the news group then got the film too, with different cameras and different people, I mean, it's like, you know, I mean, it's, you know, and the thing is that, you know, this thing's so, what's so funny is this thing's so blatantly obvious, and then it's not blatantly obvious, because essentially this cannot be seen by the naked eye. They show the film where you see it and you're watching the film and there's nothing. And then he slows it down and pop, it shows up. It's crazy.
Did they ask the guy how he was able to predict it?
He caught it by accident.
Well, I know that, but when he caught it by accident, but obviously when he said,
I don't remember what originally drew him out there, but and I believe that's what you're asking. But I believe he was going there with a regular cadence, and then noticed it, and then went back and saw it additional times, or it was after several events and went back through multiple videos and saw that it always appeared, because I believe it was always between like noon and 3, or between 1 and 3, or 1 and 2. It was kind of like a cable repair guy. He had a window of opportunity.
Yeah, but how did he know when and where to tell the reporters? That's what,
like I said, yeah, I honestly think it was just that he observed it. That he observed this pattern himself, right? That basically he was filming for large portions of the day, and basically realized that every time he saw it, it was always between this time and this time. And it was always when facing this direction. And so I think he just took that to them and offered it to them as a way of repeatability. And honestly, I'll be really, like, he's just damn lucky. He's just really damn lucky it actually showed up.
That just amazes me. That just amazes me. Now, do we know if outside of this report, if they have gone back there, either the news crew or this gentleman, to see if it's happened again?
My understanding is this is all very current. Like, this has all been happening like within the last like 2 weeks. So I don't know if there has been any follow up. I know that there was some attempt to reach out to Denver Airport and I believe FAA and ask about, like, you know, objects that it could have been, and nothing. My understanding is that they don't have any sort of official statement yet from the military, because the thing is that if the military had a vehicle that they knew was going so fast that humans couldn't see it, then they would feel very free to kind of blow it around, you know, as long as it was safe, right? They would feel very free to move it around in populated areas to a degree, because they wouldn't have to worry about it being seen. And maybe they got caught with their pants down. I mean, honestly, for me, very personally, if this turns out to be a military drone, I'm still going to be just as bloody excited, because what we had a process that worked.
Well, that's very interesting. And I hope that they don't abandon this, whether it's the media or whether it's this gentleman who caught it at first, because if that is maybe a portal type area where these craft can get in and out, it's something that needs to be investigated further. It needs to be put on the radar. Now, I do believe that this reporter and this television station actually did reach out to NORAD for confirmation on whether or not there was anything in the air, and that came back negative.
Yeah. But I believe it was really funny, because at that point in the report, and they said they reached out to NORAD and asked if they saw anything like this. And I totally wanted to, like, I realized I wasn't listening to it live, something like I do, but I wanted someone to chime in and go, did you ask about fast walkers? Because remember, I mean, we had that whole problem with NORAD about, like, them just naming it something else and claiming that they'd never seen anything, and then you give it the right name, and it turned out they had like 11,000 instances of it or something crazy like that, right? So I don't know exactly, but yes, I mean, I agree that the response that they got from NORAD I sounded very legitimate, and it sounded very upfront, and to me that almost makes this all significantly more interesting, because if this object is able to operate in that space and isn't being caught or picked up by anyone else except for this one guy that got lucky with a camera, I'm going to guess people want to know about that.
We're going to continue.
That's certainly a security issue.
Absolutely. We're going to continue on with Fedora John and the unbiased UFO report when we return from the break. So stay tuned. We also have Shirky Poo's news and the thought of the day. Lots more Spaced Out Radio coming up in the final half hour next. Stay tuned. All right, we're clear.
God, can you imagine, Dave? If this catches on, logically, we should be seeing at least one a week of these in America. Yeah. At least one a week, right? And we start seeing that grow. Oh, how cool would that be?
It would be awesome.
The problem is that what you said before about the fact that the news groups just don't have any resources to investigate this. The follow-on to that statement is unfortunately because there are no advertisers that key on to this topic, right? I mean, if there was actually revenue coming into that news group that was tied somehow to the UFO topic, then they could get resources to investigate it. You know, it's this whole cart before the horse problem, you know?
Mm-hmm. Hey, Carbines, right? How are you? I got some lovely stones from one of our listeners.
Stones?
Check these out. Hold on. I'm going to enlarge myself here. Where am I? There we go. So I got Kara, who listens to this show, been a former guest with her and her twin sister. She sent me a bunch of these because they were calling. Oh, yeah.
Wow. That's awesome.
This thing is gorgeous. I got the notes on what they all are. There's that one right there.
Neat.
That one's really cool. This one I absolutely adore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So are these all considered to be crystals, or are they all just like some of them more crystal and some of them are just more stones?
This one's a.
Oh yeah. Although I mean, technically, every metal is a crystal.
Yeah. What else do I got here? I got. I don't know what this one is. It's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm.
We got the black one with gray dots all over it.
See, my problem is my first instinct is I want to cut into it. I want to take pieces off and run them through tests. I want to do all this, and then I realize how destructive this all is, and I'm like, oh man, I can't do all that crap. That sucks.
Mm-hmm. I don't know what this one is. This one almost looks like an amber type of.
Mm-hmm. Pretty.
Yeah.
Wow. That was very nice.
Yeah, I got a couple more here.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
I don't know what that one is. Like I said, I got a list of them. And I'm not sure what this one is, but this one almost looks like lemonade inside.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And there was this one here. What the hell is this? Apache Tears. Right there.
Are they really called that?
I guess so.
That's horrible.
Well,
there's got to be a better name for them than that.
I don't think it's meant to be insultive.
Well, it doesn't have to be insulting. It still can be just sad and just in poor taste. I mean, it's like, come on. I mean, it doesn't have to be someone getting offended.
That is Shaman's Quartz. Right there.
Oh. Interesting.
Yeah. And then I got a little.
When things have like name like shaman, is it shaman's quartz because essentially within a community? Ooh, wow. It was common for shamans to use it, or did it get named that because local settlers found that they were able to sell it to shamans for a significant amount of money, and so just made the assumption that it was shamans that valued it and therefore called it you know what I'm saying? Like how did it get that name? You know, is it because of who was providing it, or is it because of who was using it?
We got 40 seconds. Big thank you to Whiskers, Kira, Carlito, and Smithy for the super chats tonight. Very much appreciate it. And Justin Maynard, good to see you. How's tomorrow looking? Logan L.
I have to remember that sometimes my daughter logs into my YouTube and I go look and I'm like, what is this? Why are these things in my video history?
Why is there Blues Clues on there? Why is there? Yeah, I know. I know that feeling. All right, bud, 10 seconds. 5. Around a third, we're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. My name is Dave Scott. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Reminder to you that if you missed most of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and now on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the fedora-wearing John Hudson and the unbiased UFO report. John, apparently there's an old image archive that you're taking a look at here.
Yes, yeah, this is awesome, and this is another example of what I'm hoping to see more of in the future. Although we have already seen something like this with what Grant Cameron's been doing and so forth, but this is basically this is all about a researcher named Rick Hilberg, someone that I'm not personally familiar with. I assume you've heard of him, Dave. He's a veteran UFO researcher in the U.S. That has been in this for quite some time, and he had previously given permission to publish his UFO photos, which can also be reached through this archive that I'll provide a link to. But with this archive, this new one is actually photos of specifically Hynek, Gray Barker, John Keel, Betty Hill. This is an archive about the people. And they're all available, and these are some just, I mean, okay, if you are into the history of anything, if you like the inside baseball aspect of anything, then this is some of the fun stuff. I mean, they have things like Alan Manick and Donald Kehoe in 1964 in the front yard of Earl Nerf. They have a lot of them are at specific events, like a picture of Betty Hill at the 1980 National UFO Conference in New York. Pictures of just, and some of them are pictures of people that not in this archive but as being called out, but you can see people, a lot of these people are still around, but to me, once again, I think that people that preserve history like this, and then people who are willing to take the time to curate it and share it, need to be applauded, because I think it's awesome. And I think just for anyone who's been doing this kind of research, these are just incredible, valuable archives to run into. Because like right now, like one of the problems that, so like if you want to investigate something like, let's say Phoenix Lights, right? Like, if you can go into Coast to Coast archives, right? And you can pull up the very early Art Bell episodes. I believe I don't think you can get the one the night of it, but you can get the ones, like you get some of the very early ones where it wasn't very many months afterwards, and like the one I'm listening to right now, it's I can't remember the gentleman's name now, but I mean it's like a really really famous oh man, who was it again? I don't remember right now, but I mean, basically, you can go into the archive and listen to all these fantastic old interviews that Art did. But going through those archives is tremendously time consuming and hard to research and very valuable, but difficult to do. And so when people do things like this, now you actually have, midsections and midpoints and insertion points and so forth. We can go in and go, oh, I'm only interested in this a little bit. So that's why these things are so, so useful. And certainly as you're getting to a point where you're trying to present any of your material, being able to take some of these images and tie them into any kind of idea that you're trying to present or so forth can be hugely impactful.
No kidding. And we need more of that. We need more of that archival type stuff. I mean, there's a number doing it, but I mean, not everybody is doing what Grant Cameron is doing, which has a plan for their research, much like Stanton Friedman sent all of his information over to the University of New Brunswick.
Yes. Well, and the thing is it there's no normal yet for what this looks like, right? Like, what does it look like? What's available to the archive, right? And because the thing is that there's people who are good at collecting data, and there's people that are good at presenting data, and those are honestly not very frequently the same people. And so, or there's just different perspectives. I mean, take someone like Cheryl Costa, right? Like the way that she presents her data makes sense to her, and it's very valuable to a lot of people, right? And I get that. But for me personally, there are very, very drastically different methods of information sharing that I would give significant effort to get out of her. But the thing is, that's not what she likes. That's not how she works. So there's no reason for her to do that, right? So that becomes very, very challenging.
Very challenging. All right. Final topic for tonight is there's an article on government coming from the Liberation Times about a Pentagon spokesperson attempting to avoid congressional UFO legislation.
Yeah, so I'm not going to do this article justice, and because it's fairly lengthy, and I really recommend everyone go through it. And a nod to Christopher Sharp once again for a nice effort. But what I do want to touch on is that he kind of goes through and he touches on some of the basically what he's trying to document is that ever since the Armed Services Act and everything got signed, there was immediately efforts that appear to have been going on within these different organizations to try to limit, mitigate, avoid basically anything that they can do to essentially free themselves from any requirements that this new legislation is going to put them into. And that in itself isn't okay. That in itself isn't evil. To be honest with you, that's probably what most groups do all the time in government, because you're always worried about getting things dumped on you and not having the resources to take care of it. But in this case, what you have is you have some very kind of specific things that seem to pull off. So, for example, before the ink had even dried, on December 29th, Roger Gassel corresponded with the Department of Defense spokesperson Susan Go regarding, is it Go or Goff? How do you pronounce it, Dave? Do you know?
Some people call it Go, some people Goff. I don't know.
Okay. To me, it's Go, but because to me it's like Van Gogh. But if I hear differently, I'll change it. And I apologize, Susan, if I'm wrong. Regarding the NDAA language requiring the establishment of an unidentified aerial phenomenon office, and within the correspondence, Go seemed to confirm that the office would sit within its Airborne Object Identification and Management Systems group. So basically, the group that we found out about from the Department of Defense playing, coverage, when they saw the bill saying, "Oh, look, we're doing all these things already." The groups that they claimed they existed, it appears that they're trying to shove this new unit into that group, which is not in the spirit of the legislation by any means. And basically what he does is he does a really good job of doing this point by point by point, showing like all the different things that were either dropped or reinterpreted or changed or in some way. I mean, he lays out a very to be honest with you, it's a little depressing if you read it, because it really it's good, but it really shows that there is a tremendous amount of there's a tremendous amount of effort going on to limit the effectiveness of this legislation.
Right. Okay. Quick question for you. Carbines is asking, has anyone debated Chris Mellon's Barbarians Inside the Gates comment that he made on another podcast?
I'm not familiar with that one. What was do you know what the comment was?
I don't know.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I apologize. I wish because actually I'm a little irritated that there's a Christopher Mellon interview that isn't fresh in my memory. So I'll have to dig into that. But no, I mean, if you can give me context, I might be able to comment. But I don't know off the top of my head.
Yeah, I don't know. I did not listen to it. But getting back to this article, I mean, this is a pretty damning article that if the Pentagon spokesperson, who is Susan Go, wants to, she has never been a fan of ufology. She has really tried to put the kibosh over the last couple of years regarding Lou Elizondo, regarding his history. She was one of those up close and personal who were apparently in the group getting rid of his emails and his history within the government. They didn't want anything to do with him. I mean, it really does show an evil side of the government.
Well, all you have to do is go back and read Susan Go's paper to really understand what her value set is for the government, like why she's there and what she does. Because I mean, she's into, a level of, I don't want to try to imply that she does direct image manipulation, but I mean, she definitely does image management, shall we say. But yeah, no, I mean, it's unfortunate because, it's okay. So, in the case of Christopher Mellon, we have someone who's doing things, but he's doing things because he believes, right? He believes that it's important to get this information out, or he believes that something's real that's being hidden or whatever, right? If you have someone like Susan Go who basically is doing the steps to subvert them, but she doesn't have a strong belief behind that, right? She doesn't have like this conviction behind it that's pushing her. There's a good chance that they won't have the energy to stand up to what's coming. But and the thing is that a lot of what's in here, it should have been expected, right? Because that's the whole reason why the Department of Defense put out that memo showing all that stuff, because they were trying to create a chart where you could draw a line to line to line to line to line to line to line, and then they could go, look, we met all your needs by doing what we were already doing, which wasn't very useful to you in the first place, but don't pay attention to the guy behind the closet because we're doing this now. You should be happy, right? So that's essentially what we're concerned about. And the thing is that, to be fair, some of what you read about in this article is going to happen. And this is just the way it works. This is just the game that gets played. The challenge is that we need to find the ones that are really, really harmful, and do what we can to mitigate those fast. And that's essentially what Christopher Mellon is doing. And Christopher Sharp does cover in this article some of the statements that Christopher Mellon has made specifically about this process and what he's concerned about. And what becomes very clear to me is that Christopher Mellon is very aware of what's going on and was expecting this to happen.
Another great unbiased UFO report from the fedora-wearing John Hudson tonight on Spaced Out Radio. John, thank you so much for a great report, and we'll talk to you soon.
Yep.
All right, let's get to Shirky Poo's news, shall we? Shirky Poo has always got the news for us here on Spaced Out Radio. Let's get right to it. Would somebody please think of the pigeons? Please, the pigeons. A resident in the Bushwick neighborhood of Brooklyn reportedly witnessed the untimely death of a pigeon thanks to an airborne iMac computer. On Twitter, user Human Mel wrote that the Apple computer was thrown out a window by an angry spouse, which landed on an innocent and unsuspecting bird. Took a photograph of the Apple screen, literally flattening the head of the pigeon. Must have died instantly. Walking in Bushwick, and somebody's angry spouse just threw this Mac out the window, killing the pigeon on the way, he said. Could an iMac crush a bird to death? Judging by the picture, Human Mail tweeted, it appears the destroyed machinery could be a 27-inch iMac, one of Apple's largest and heaviest versions of its flagship computers. Some Twitter users found the humor in the morbid situation. 2 days away from retirement too, one tweeted. Another one, take it home, gut it, and mount a Raspberry Pi on the screen. Inside it, the iMac, not the pigeon. Wow. Consider this an ultimate first world problem. Imagine a world where people complain about having to put a sandwich together. Well, a number of McDonald's customers aren't happy about doing so after the restaurant's release of its latest promotion in the United States, Menu Hacks, which suggests customers build the ultimate sandwich by combining 2 or more of the existing menu items. One example is Surf and Turf, which combines a filet of fish with a double cheeseburger. Another is Land, Sea, and Air, which combines Big Mac, McChicken, and filet of fish. Now that sounds disgusting. Order by name and build it by hand, the advertising campaign slogan reads. Customers took to Twitter to complain about having to put the work in to make these sandwich creations. Why have a hack menu when we have to build it ourselves? One tweeted. Please make it clear when you order a menu hack, the customer needs to build it. Disappointed. A McDonald's spokesperson says everyone has a unique go-to at McDonald's, including our everyday customers. Despite advertising the items as a build-it-yourself option, it has fallen on deaf ears in many cases. All right, moving on here. How'd you like to be this guy? Muzaffar Kayasan. He's the first COVID-19 person to have tested positive since, 14 months. He's gone through 78 straight positive tests, still alive, still battling to shake off the infection. The 56-year-old has Turkey's longest recorded COVID-19 infection, doctors say, possibly due to a weakened immune system from the cancer. Despite being in and out of hospital since November 2020, his spirits are high. I guess this is the female version of COVID. She has been obsessed with me, he laughs about, joking after testing positive for the 78th time. 9 months in hospital, 5 months mostly alone in his flat have separated him from much of the outside world, including his granddaughter Azra, who stays in the garden while visiting, talking through the glass back at him. Oh, that's sad. That's sad. All right, moving on. You're sleeping alone in your bed while a naked man, blood dripping from his body and armed with scissors, is watching you from a dark corner. Sounds like a nightmare, doesn't it? Yeah. Unfortunately, 80-year-old Denise Holt of Illinois had this disturbing vision, and it wasn't a bad dream. A naked intruder that crept into her home held her hostage for 21 hours until the police managed to save her. Unable to call for help, Holt's rescuers only arrived after her family called the cops on the to-do well-being well-being check on her, and that was because of the game Wordle. Holt is an enthusiastic fan of the popular online word puzzle game. Every morning, she shares her previous day's scores with her daughter, Meredith. On February 7th, Holt Caldwell didn't receive an update on her mother's gaming performance. Alarm bells immediately went off in her head, and she called the cops. And it's a good thing she did. Wordle may just have inadvertently saved her life. I won't harm you. Holt's ordeal began at 9:30 in the afternoon or in the evening on February 6th. The octogenarian was already asleep when she woke up to the disturbing sight. In the darkness of her room, the naked man was creeping around. He was dripping in blood on the floor with multiple cuts to his body, hands, after he brandished a pair of scissors. Yes, she was in shock. He threatened me, she said. Luckily, the man did not attack her. Instead, he crawled up onto Holt's bed and laid down next to her. Holt, afraid of provoking him into violence, made no attempt to stop him. I was trying to survive, that's all, he said. I won't harm you or molest you. Well, isn't that nice? Suppose that's a silver lining, but that wasn't everything that the man was about to subject her to. Without any clothes on, the man said he was cold and wanted to get under the blankets. Yeah, and get her into the bathroom so he could have a hot shower. Thank God the police got this pervert, because we don't need anything like that happening. And finally tonight, well, maybe we'll have time for two more. Florida police say an alleged Walmart shoplifter threw a hissy fit before hurling a Barbie doll at a store worker's face when she got caught stealing. Happened on February 2nd, store called Winter Haven. Yeah, local police are asking for the public's help in identifying the woman, who they say had green hands and hair, apparently from a recent dye treatment. Yeah, that went wrong. And she allegedly stocked up on a shopping cart with food and groceries and moved it to the self-checkout area, where police say she lingered for about 15 minutes before trying to leave with the items. The video showed 4 employees trying to stop her. Get the manager, Kim, police said. I have an employee discount and I get my groceries for free. Store manager had no manager named Kim. Video shows that she grabbed a boxed up Barbie, attempted to walk away before turning and hurling it back at one of the employees. Police say it struck the victim in the face and cut her lip. They are now looking for the lady who can throw a mean Barbie doll. I want to say thank you to everybody participating today in our show, listening in wherever you are. Thank you to Shirky Poo for the news, John Hudson for the Unbiased UFO Report, Swamp Dweller for a great story, and Amber from Amber's Paraworld for being just a fantastic guest tonight. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot Thal rocking in the background with Little Brother is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, at work, in your cars, wherever you may be. Thank you to everyone in our chat rooms tonight. YouTube, Twitch, LGAB, Revolution Radio, Spreaker, Facebook, the Space Travelers Club, and on Twitter at hashtag Spaced Out Radio. I know you're out there somewhere. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. Thank you so much for choosing to share your evening with us, because together, my friends, we're watching. We own the night. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Yes, the Woo train has docked for the night. But soon, my friends, we shall ride again. Your seats are always available. Your tickets never expire. And if you want to bring a friend, we've got room for them too. Good night. I'll bring you back in a second, John. I haven't forgotten about you, buddy. The fedora wearing John Hudson.
What's up, buddy?
The fedora wearing John Hudson.
Pretty crazy stuff going on, huh, buddy?
Oh, dude. It's crazy.
But you know what killed me about that Denver one? Is that I know what's going to happen. Is it nothing? Nothing's going to happen.
Of course not.
Nothing's ever going to happen because nothing ever does happen. It's just
Nothing
you
ever
get to just get to enjoy whatever it is, and you enjoy it for what it is, and
Nobody's
you move on because
how they gonna know?
Well, I mean, that's one thing that becomes very clear when you start doing any kind of historical research is that, you know, I said this before, but like you come into this thinking, oh man, if we could just get that one sighting, if we just get that one video, if we just get that one interview, and you start researching history and you discover it, guess what? We've got it. All of it. We've got the one video. We've got the one interview. We've got the one it's happened. It's all happened. It's been happening for decades. And every time it happens, no one notices. No one cares. It's the weirdest thing.
Nobody's going to know. How are they going to know?
Weirdest thing. It's so weird.
I just think that's funny. I'm sorry.
It's weird. It's
I know.
True. And honestly, the same thing happens with Bigfoot. Exact same thing.
So?
Exact same thing. Hey, by the way, Dave, I heard something the other day that caught me off guard, and I was curious. So I was listening to. So first off, I was listening to. It was Coast to Coast, and it was Connie
Willis.
Willis, thank you. Who have you met her?
I've talked to her. She's a really nice lady.
She seems like a super, like, just really genuinely nice person. Yeah, like I
great journalist.
Yeah, I'd love to have a chance to talk to her sometime. But yeah, so she was on, and the person that she had on for the second half was you know, into the Bigfoot side of things, and included some incredible vocalizations. I mean, stuff that I didn't really know how to process. And this was on Coast to Coast. And so, like, you know, 5-10 million people heard it. And so first off, I would love it if you were to, and maybe if you can just look up the guy's name, like if I can tell you the guy's name, you might supposed to say, yes, you know, I'm from Mike Patterson.
Mike Patterson, the name. I've heard of his name.
Okay. Anyway, so he's evidently become quite friendly with a couple of them, and like you can kind of discern words from it. So that was one thing. That's like a totally different topic. The part I wanted to ask you about was that one of the things they described was an occurrence that sounded a boatload like the hitchhiker phenomenon, but happening with Bigfoot. That essentially people that will see Bigfoot will then have stuff follow them home.
Oh yeah, I've heard of that.
Okay, so like someone needs to look into this, because if there really is a hitchhiker phenomenon, and it looks, smells, feels anything at all like the hitchhiker phenomenon that we see elsewhere, that's a big freaking deal. I mean, that is a big freaking deal. Like, that's a tell of the highest order. I mean, for those two different systems to be using the same methodology, would be whacked. Absolutely.
There's a lot of shit that's whacked out there, dude.
Oh yeah, but what I'm saying is that would mean that would imply that whatever's going on at Skinwalker Ranch evolved in the same time period as Bigfoot did.
One second. Justin, I will not kill my gnomes. David Weatherly told me that if I don't become one with the gnomes, that they will become very, very rude.
Rude.
And mean. Oh, that felt good. I don't want to die to the gnomes. So what else was happening, John? How's your daughter feeling?
I'm sorry. I'm a visual thinker, and so there's times when you say things, and I just had this vision of like Dave in his yard, like watering something, and then suddenly like these gnomes jump out of the bushes and take him down, and they tie him up, and no more Dave. Very funny.
Travels.
Yeah, totally Columbus Travels. Exactly. Yeah, but anyway, no, I was really hung up by that hitchhiker phenomenon being described, and they didn't describe it as a hitchhiker phenomenon, but they described the hitchhiker phenomenon exactly. I mean, it was crazy how and I was like, wow, that is, because I mean, like for example, what would be a good if a hitchhiker phenomenon developed around Taco Bell, okay, that would be a big deal, right? I mean, because that would imply that somehow there was some correlation, some not necessarily causation, but some relationship between Taco Bell and Skinwalker Ranch, right? So, yeah, that would be.
Hey, Jason Pearl, how you doing?
And the thing about the hitchhiker phenomenon that I find the most interesting, I would argue, is the fact that it wanes. Like whatever, like if you can imagine it, it's like someone filled up a rechargeable battery of woo.
Oh yeah.
And once you leave, it starts getting used. And depending on, in the beginning, maybe you got a big charge, and so you got a lot of woo left, and so a lot of stuff happens. And maybe stuff happens for your family, and stuff happens all over the place. And then after a couple of days and a couple of weeks and a little time goes by, you start running out of juice, and boom, it all goes away. That's weird.
Hold on. Justin's just said something weird in the chat room. Anyone here know what the deadliest Aussie animal is? A drop bear. What the hell is a drop bear?
I have no idea.
I'm gonna look this up. Drop bear. It's a fictional creature, almost like a evil koala bear. Weird. Well, let's see what's happening over in Namibia right now. Do we have any animals there? Well, it's 10 o'clock in the morning. Cloudy. No,
Awesome,
no
Yeti. Hey, do they have Bigfoot in Australia?
They got the Yowie.
Similar size?
Yeah.
Is there any place that doesn't have a Bigfoot? Or hasn't ever?
Antarctica. I don't recall hearing any reports from Africa.
I think a drunk polar bear has to be one of the most terrifying things I've ever heard of.
Any polar bear is scary, man. Those
But
things are
raging,
nuts.
yeah, can you imagine a raging drunk one? Ooh. bite his own hand off.
They like dogs.
As friend or food?
Play toys.
But like not nice play toys.
Sometimes.
I mean, realistically, any animal, no matter how vicious, if they're, well fed and content, they're not necessarily going to just attack another animal that's around them if there's no good reason to do so.
My buddy has this, he rescues dogs. And he's got like 14, 15 dogs at home. And he's got like 10 acres, and his dogs are his babies,
Oh,
and
man.
he's got a couple of dogs that kind of go with him everywhere. One's name is Blue. Blue is like not just over a year old and already like 115 pounds.
Wow.
Big little mastiff type dog. And he's got this cute little pitty named Rosie. And every time Rosie sees me, like when he comes into my office, and every time Rosie sees me, I have to go out and pet her. Like, dude, there's not many dogs I want in this world. This Rosie is just, she's got the most beautiful eyes.
Oh, that's cool.
So I walk up to the car and I'm like, hey, Rosie, how you doing? Hey, Jiggy Norris. Wow, boring AF. You know what? The sad part about it is I had to read your comment. So that made my life boring. That's like 4 seconds of my life I will never get back, and another 15 seconds that I'll never get back because I have to make a comment about your comment. So, well, show is over. This is the after show, man. So if you want to hang out, you can hang out. If not, you're boring. Probably got
On good nights,
foot too.
we break out into song and dance. So, you can wait for that.
So anyways, about Rosie. Today, Rosie, like Luke, my buddy, leaves his windows open in his car, halfway. Uh-oh. And so Rosie comes up, she sees me, and she comes over to the driver's seat just so I could scratch her. And Blue keeps getting in her way. And while I'm scratching her, and Blue's trying to act a little tough, and Rosie actually growled at him twice, protecting me. It's kind of cool.
Nice.
Yeah, like we're talking full on teeth.
Nice.
Like you leave him alone.
He's my dude. Yeah, that's cool. That's way
Love
cool.
that dog.
God, 15 dogs. I for a while I had four. I had 4 Labradors, full size Labradors, and that was a bit much. I mean, I liked it, but it was a bit much. I even find 3 can be challenging. But I much prefer having 2 to only having 1. I don't really like having just 1 dog. I always feel like the dog should have someone, at least someone at least a little closer to their own genetics to, get some empathy from, Huntsman spiders are cool. I'm making sure I'm trying to read this right. There's no way that someone's actually. Huntsman spiders are cool? Huh. That's funny. I've heard a lot of adjectives to describe huntsman spiders in my life, and I don't think cool is ever one I've ever heard. Oh, that's awesome, Agnes. That's cool. dogs are, if you're the kind of person that likes having a dog, obviously if you don't like dogs, please don't get one. But if you're the kind of person that likes having dogs, they're incredibly good for your health. One thing I've wondered is that, you know, you've talked before about dogs and encounters, and how there seems to be some relationship between dogs and sightings and so forth. And I can't help but wonder sometimes if it's more of a general thing that, you know, for example, if you were to, I don't know how you do this, but if you were to look at statistics for people that have abduction experiences, for example, across the whole population, and then you were to contrast that against, you know, the whole population that, you know, that has dogs, does the presence of dogs in the house have any impact on whether you're likely to get abducted or not? Yeah, I don't know. To me, it just kind of wonders, because I remember you saying that, like, when you went out with Moff, you know, and you saw that thing, like, you guys had the dogs with you, remember? And the dogs like took off, and they disappeared, and then when you actually saw it, the dogs weren't there anymore. Oh wait, did Dave freeze, or is he reading something?
No.
Oh.
Here, I wasn't sure if you were talking to me or the audience.
Oh, I'm sorry. No, I was asking you.
What were you asking me?
I was asking you if you thought that having dogs in any way, shape, or form impacted your likelihood to be abducted.
No. They don't care.
So then, why did it matter that you had dogs with you that when you went out with
Samantha?
Samantha? Because I remember you made the comment about the fact that the dogs, if the dogs were there, they might not come, and then you realized that the dogs were gone, and then right afterwards you saw the ship, right?
No, that we saw the aliens.
Or I saw the aliens. Sorry. So there seemed to be an implied relationship between the dogs disappearing and the aliens appearing.
I think the dogs were told to go away, or they sent something.
Hmm. I appreciate all the birdsmen, like all the huntsman spider talk, but I'll be honest with you, like all other like Australian animals now fall to shame to the birds that set fires. I'm sorry, that is the most like impressive thing I've ever heard an animal doing in my life. Birds that actually intentionally set fires. I mean, that is an amazing feat. Like, in my opinion, and my understanding is that there are 3 different birds in Australia that do this, that have all learned. That is really impressive. That goes way beyond venom. I'm sorry. Like, that is pyromaniac birds. Like, that's scary.
Only in Australia could you have pyromaniac birds.
Only Australia. Birds like, I don't have venom, but look what I got.
It's all right. You shoot your venom at me, I'm still going to burn you to death. And all of your family, too.
Oh.
What doesn't kill you in Australia?
It really is. It's really astounding the number of dangerous creatures they have there, and the evolution that we've seen there in venom and in venom delivery systems. It really shows that, like, if you were to create a world where everything was venomous, that the venom would start getting nastier and nastier. It would actually start evolving more and more, and it would start getting really bad, like really bad. Because that's what we start to see. It's kind of crazy. Like, to me, like, still one of the nuttiest things about Australia is those little tiny shrimp that they have in the ocean. Or I don't think they're shrimp. I don't know what they are. And they're totally fine unless they go up your nose, and then you die, and you can't see them, and they just float in the water, and you might run into one, and they have those too. Mind-boggling.
Mm-hmm. Totally mind-boggling. I'm trying to find something here. Let's go here. So here. Twitter is nuts right now. With everything that's going on. Hey, look who it is. It's Amber's Paraworld in our chat room. And Bimmer the Jimmer right there. Do they even have moose in Australia? I don't think they do.
Moose in Australia? I would be shocked. I would be
Are
so
there
shocked.
moose in Australia?
Probably no one more shocked than the moose would be.
No. Apparently deer were introduced in Australia, but there are no moose.
Huh. Have you ever looked into any of the lore about like native Australians having history of being visited by Egyptians?
No. Let's go through the list of the 10 most dangerous animals in Australia. Number
Doesn't everyone
10.
have it memorized?
No. I've got it here. I've just pulled it up. The box jellyfish.
I think that's the one I was talking about. The one that just like goes up your nose. Is that it?
It is said to be the most toxic animal on Earth, with venom containing toxins that attack the heart, nervous system, and skin. You will find it and avoid it in northern Australia, especially between October and May. Taipan spider, the most venomous snake in the world. Of course. Only a handful of people have ever been bitten by them, and yes, they survived. Saltwater crocodile. The blue-ringed octopus, which is only the size of maybe a couple of inches.
What does it do to you?
It looks fantastic, but when it bites you, they are highly venomous. The sting is often fatal. Yeah.
That little
people pick it up. People pick them up because they're so cute, and then it bites your hand, and the body shuts down immediately, paralyzing you. Breathing is no longer accessible. There is no, excuse me, there is no known anti-venom. They will have to help you, put you on machinery to help you breathe until the toxin is removed from the body. So that's always pleasant. All right, moving on here.
Wow.
Stonefish. Dangerously venomous, even to humans. It's very hard to spot because it lies motionless and camouflaged. They're in the shallow waters. The redback spider, the Australian black widow. That's found throughout the country. Next would be the brown snake and the tiger snake. Number 9 is the great white shark. And number 10 is Sydney's funnel web spider. Hides under rocks, logs, in your shoes. Found in New South Wales. It can breathe underwater for short periods of time. Isn't that nice? Isn't that nice? What animals kill the most humans in Australia? Of the 254 confirmed and reported animal-related deaths during a 10-year period, horses, cows, and dogs were the most frequent culprits.
Horses.
Yeah. Who figured?
It's all about the hippos, man. The hippos are scary.
Hippos are scary. Hippos are totally scary. How many people does a hippo pot must kill annually? 500 people estimated.
That's crazy. That is really nutty. Those videos of the hippos coming up on people out of the water, so disturbing.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, so what I was going to say is that, you know, there's long been curiosity about the cocaine that's been found in Egypt, because it appeared to come from quite some far away, and so there was lots of debate about it because of and there was also tobacco that was found that had, you know, and so, you know, there's been all these hints that essentially there was commerce going on between Egypt and other long range parts of the world at certain points in time, but it's something that's been largely contested by most scholars and so forth. But then on the flip side of it, there's also local regions that have historical reports of being visited by Egyptians, and one of those is actually a region of Australia, and they actually claim that at one point the Egyptians came to Australia to, I believe, mine gold, if I remember correctly.
Interesting. Still no animals at the Namibia water site. I'm waiting. Looks like they may have some rain today.
You know, Dave, I can actually order organic mushrooms from my state.
Really?
Yep. You can order albino mushrooms. They have like psilocybin bars. It's crazy. And it actually gets delivered right to your house. It's nuts. Brave new world. Brave new world.
Very, very cool. Very cool.
Yeah, that's what we should do. We should buy like bags and bags and bags of psilocybin stuffed gummies, and take them to Vegas. And then we can all go into the desert with Jim.
Yeah, right.
That would be so awesome.
Right.
Oh my God, that would be so amazing. Go out with Jim and oh my God, that would be so.
Go find Area 51.
I gotta see what I can do about that.
All right. We're gonna call it the night. Tomorrow night on the show, from the North American Dogman Project, Nick Valente. We'll be talking to him tomorrow. Tomorrow afternoon at 11 a.m. Pacific, 2 p.m. Eastern, Lynn Wallington starts her new Tuesday show with a gentleman named Robert Welsh. He is a huge, huge influencer, and he's really into the paranormal. It's going to be great. Tomorrow at 2 p.m., so make sure you tune that in. And then Spaced Out Radio, talking Dogman all night long with me. And Super Duke from World Bigfoot Radio will be back. I want to say a big thank you to Smithy, Carlito, Kira, Whiskers, and Carbines Right. Really appreciate the love. Mr. John, another great report, buddy. You are fantastic.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. It's always fun, my friend.
All right, buddy. We're going to
All right,
say
have a good
goodnight.
evening, everybody.
Play the trumpets.